Chapter 1150. Thump. 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 Yi Qinghan and Mo Li's heartbeats reverberated through the city gate, as if the hearts of true dragons were rising and falling. Thump. 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 Yi Qinghan and Mo Li maintained a distance of 5 meters, which was just enough for Zhong Quan and the demon god Spear to move freely and help each other. The city wall was over 20 meters thick, and the huge space inside the city gate was empty. However, as soon as Yi Qinghan and Mo Li stepped out of the gate, they would definitely encounter the most terrifying attacks. The Blood Evil Guard and the Sorcerer Guard were the most powerful hidden forces of the sorcerer race. They killed people like flies. Once the divine swords in their hands were unsheathed, the enemy's fate was sealed. As long as they worked together, there was no mission that could not be completed. The second sorcerer god, Wu Yi, and the serpent god were all here. No matter how powerful Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were, they would not be able to escape death. Whoosh! When they stepped out of the city gate, Yi Qinghan's body emitted a godly flame that burned the void. Even the demonic qi emitted from Mo Li's body was burned by the flame, blocking the baleful qi with his masculine qi. A turtle in a jar, who dares to resist? A deep voice reverberated through the 6 realms' divine city. The empty city seemed to have nothing but buildings, and all other creatures seemed to have died. The second sorcerer god looked down at the entrance of the city gate. A special divine sword appeared in his hand, emitting a powerful deathly sword qi. It was like a divine weapon pulled out from the depths of hell, capable of killing without spilling blood. It was incomparably fierce. The name of the sword was simple, Broken Fang, symbolizing sharpness. It had been nurtured by the second sorcerer god using his own death aura, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon over countless years, and using the blood of the sorcerer god to forge it over dozens of epochs. It had been buried with him, and had never appeared in the world until now. No one knew of its existence, but it was a divine weapon that was even closer to an over-god weapon than the primal chaos compass. As long as it pierced the skin of an enemy, it could definitely instantly destroy the life force and soul of the giant god. Yi Qinghan could feel a terrifying and sharp sword qi enveloping him from the passageway of the city gate. It was much stronger than the giant soldier god he had forged himself. The giant soldier god he had forged lacked a strong foundation and was not nourished with vigorous blood essence. Whether it was in terms of sharpness or lethality, it was 1 or 2 levels lower than Broken Tooth. Damn it, is it really not the second sorcerer god? Mo Li said to himself hoarsely. The second sorcerer god used the sorcerer god's spear as a divine weapon. This was something everyone knew. However, this person used a sword. Moreover, such a powerful divine sword had never appeared in the world. Perhaps there really were some terrifying forces in the world that were unknown to the world. Who cares if he is or not? Let's kill our way out first. Yi Qinghan roared angrily. He stomped on the ground and rushed out of the city gate like a rainbow. However, a majestic energy came from underground and protected the ground in an instant. Everything returned to normal. Swish. 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 At the same time, at least 100 attacks pierced through time and space and rushed towards Yi Qinghan's body. Every blade was soul-stealing, and every sword was fatal. The gloomy killing intent made people tremble in fear and despair. They were powerless to resist. Unfortunately, their opponent was Yi Qinghan and not an ordinary enemy. Boom! 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 Yi Qinghan swung his 7 feet heavy saber to create a huge defensive space. His sword qi was impenetrable and constantly collided with the saber and sword. Saber light and sword shadows flashed and rumbled unceasingly. The quality of these saber and sword was actually able to block the violent and powerful attacks. However, that group of people could not block his attacks and were directly sent flying by the energy waves. Bang! 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 More than 10 figures were directly sent flying and crashed into the surrounding houses on the street. The houses collapsed and smoke and dust rose everywhere. Broken Tooth was unsheathed. The leading second sorcerer god attacked. His sword pierced through the clouds and went straight for Yi Qinghan's head. Hua! Yi Qinghan's frenzied saber was raised and hit the tip of the sword. The two divine weapons collided and a sharp ear-piercing sound blasted in all directions. Everyone's ears were ringing and their brains were about to explode. Hiss! The sound of the saber and sword pierced through the air. A very obvious gap appeared on Zhong Kuang's blade. However, before it could be repaired, the Blood Evil army rushed over. There were nearly 100 of them and their attack and defense were seamless. Their killing intent soared and affected one's mind. However, Yi Qinghan's mental fortitude was extremely strong. Even if 100 giant gods surrounded him, he wouldn't be flustered, let alone 100 Blood Evil guards. He waved his arms wildly, and his energy surged into the city. The houses around him collapsed with a loud bang. Wooden planks flew everywhere, and debris flew into the void. Hum! Hum! Boom! Boom! Zhong Kuang once again sent everyone flying and clashed with the second sorcerer god. Xiao! Xiao! The second sorcerer god was indeed a super existence in the Chaos era. His swordsmanship was sharp and his killing intent was oppressive. He forced Yi Qinghan to retreat. His powerful divine power could be clearly seen and firmly suppressed Yi Qinghan. Boom! Yi Qinghan stomped on the ground and rushed into the void. His saber light tore through the clouds and slashed at the second sorcerer god. The seemingly weak second sorcerer god could explode with the power to resist heaven's fall. He ruthlessly slashed at Zhong Kuang. Zhong Kuang was once again heavily injured. Yi Qinghan's body sped up and borrowed the force to attack the barrier above. Boom! The barrier shook slightly and the energy waves could be clearly seen. However, it could not be broken at all. If the barrier was not broken, it meant that what happened here could not be transmitted to the outside world. Yi Qinghan and Mo Li could not escape. The gate outside the Six Realms Divine City was directly shattered. This place could not be entered or exited. There were still people guarding outside the city. If someone approached, they would be killed on the spot. You can't escape. Prepare to die. The second sorcerer god roared. His voice was hoarse as he stomped on the ground. He turned into a rainbow and rushed towards Yi Qinghan. On the other side, Mo Li was also being chased. The Xiong Xinjiao was extremely powerful. With the help of Wu Yi and so many evil blood guards and sorcerer god guards, they could not fight back. They could only rely on guerrilla tactics to delay the situation and preserve their lives. Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were anxious. If they continued fighting like this, they would die sooner or later. This group of people was the foundation of the sorcerer race. They had been hiding for who knows how many years. Killing a few or a dozen peak giant gods was just like playing around. Moreover, the two of them were trapped in the city and could not escape. They could only fight back. Hum! Hum! Spear after spear shot out like a meteor. The demon god spear art was used to the point of perfection. Every spear wanted to take someone's life, but they were all blocked by the serpent divine dragon and Wu Yi. In just a few breaths of time, Mo Li's divine robe was torn, and his clothes were tattered. He was like a madman, rushing left and right like a headless fly. Yi Qinghan, who was in the sky, was not much better. He first had to face the second sorcerer god and the attacks of so many evil blood guards. Under such an asymmetrical attack, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. Bang! Yi Qinghan repelled the second sorcerer god's attack with a slash. His dragon blood boiled, his veins bulged, and dragon scales covered his body. He kicked the evil blood guard, causing it to explode in the air. Boom! Boom! Yi Qinghan didn't show any mercy after gaining the upper hand. After shattering the old man's body, he somersaulted in the air and punched the old man's godhead. The old man's godhead didn't have time to escape and was shattered by Yi Qinghan's punch. The old man's soul let out a miserable shriek and turned into a wisp of smoke. Hum! The broken tooth pierced through the air and appeared in front of Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's reaction was extremely fast. While he was flipping, he forcefully twisted his body and dodged the second sorcerer god's killing blow. The broken tooth slashed through his clothes and the sword chi left a mark on his golden saint armor. However, the reincarnation divine steel came into play and absorbed the ruthless sword chi. Boom! The second sorcerer god flipped his wrist and smashed the sword hilt at Yi Qinghan's back. In this short period of time, Yi Qinghan could not dodge at all and was directly blasted down from the sky. Yi Qinghan groaned as his body fell rapidly. His long blade slashed down and hit the ground. Before his body touched the ground, he stabilized himself and landed on the ground with a flip. Mo Li's back was facing him. Twisting his waist, he was in so much pain that the corner of his mouth twitched. Is there any way to break the enchantment? If we don't leave the enchantment, we will be exhausted to death. Mo Li's hair was messy and he was in a sorry state as he roared. Chapter 1151. Yi Qinghan's eyes were cold as he stared at the masked second-generation sorcerer god. He couldn't be sure that the person in front of him was the second-generation sorcerer god, but the most important thing right now was to break this barrier. If he couldn't break it, then it would be useless even if he could prove that his opponent was the second-generation sorcerer god. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath as he felt a piercing pain in his chest. His back felt like it was being torn apart, and a deathly aura was spreading out. However, it was quickly suppressed by the true dragon's power. More than 10 godhoods in his sea of consciousness quickly revolved, and his body's condition was adjusted to its peak state. After a long time, Yi Qinghan said with a hoarse voice, "I can't break this barrier. This isn't an ordinary barrier. I used all of my strength and even borrowed a wave of energy, but I still couldn't shake this barrier. Damn it! Who are these damned people?" Mo Li cursed. He felt that even if the demonic god mountain used all of its resources, it would only be able to find half of these experts. The key was that the 3 experts were clearly at the Saint Lord level. One of them was enough for him to fight for half a day. Why don't we switch targets? You attack that one, and I'll attack these 2. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly as he asked in a low voice. Mo Li nodded and slowly turned around with Yi Qinghan, changing directions. The second-generation sorcerer god laughed with a hoarse voice. It was incomparably cold, sending chills down one's spine. Ignorant brat, if you use all of your resources and bathe in demonic blood, you might be able to contend against me. The second-generation sorcerer god mocked. Mo Li's hair stood on end. He felt that he had no secrets in front of this person. This person even knew about the demonic god clan's forbidden technique. How was he supposed to fight? But after bathing in the demonic blood, you can only attack for 2 hours. After that, you'll just be a piece of trash. Even a low-level vicious beast can kill you. Do you think you'll be able to defeat me after 2 hours? Ha ha ha. The second-generation sorcerer god laughed wildly. Gulp, Mo Li swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was incomparably furious. This was the first time he felt so powerless. The other party had him completely under control, and he didn't even know who the other party was. Yi Qinghan looked at the large number of sorcerer god guards and blood evil guards approaching step by step. Wu Yi and Xiong Xinjiao dragon god's mask. Their wide battle robes fluttered in the wind under their masks cover their figures. It was the same mask, the same clothes, but the aura was different. If there's us. If their attacks are SSSS. If there's ifs. If there's I. Is. Yi. The Xiong Xinjiao dragon god's strength was immense. Although he restrained his advantage in order to not expose his identity, his combat strength was still at the Divine Lord level. The iron rod in his hand weighed more than 10,000 pounds. When he swung it, the force it produced was even more terrifying. Wu Ye's sword art was actually mixed with many divine techniques. It was a terrifying divine technique. Hua. Hua. Xiu. Xiu. Rays of divine sword art pierced through the void, accompanied by the attacks of the blood evil guards and sorcerer god guards. The iron rod shattered the void and blasted towards Yi Qinghan's body. Yi Qinghan ignored the blood evil guards and sorcerer god guards and dodged Wu Ye's attack. His veins popped out as he slammed his saber on the iron rod that Xiong Xinjiao dragon god was smashing towards him. The energy surged out and shattered space. The aftershock sent the blood evil guards and sorcerer god guards flying. Bang! 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 The blood evil guards and sorcerer god guards couldn't withstand the aftershock of the two's attack. They crashed into the city wall and coughed out blood. Bang! Yi Qinghan, who had withstood the terrifying force, retreated dozens of steps. The stone slabs under his feet turned into dust. A majestic divine power came from underground. Otherwise, the entire city would have collapsed. The Xiong Xinjiao dragon god was in an even worse state after being hit by Yi Qinghan's saber. The iron rod was almost cut in half. He lost control of his body and flew backwards, crashing into the city wall. The city wall shook. In terms of physical strength, Yi Qinghan was number one. Even the Xiong Xinjiao dragon god couldn't withstand it. Humph! The Xiong Xinjiao dragon god slammed the ground and bounced up. His divine power poured out, and his veins popped out. His loose divine robe suddenly looked smaller. The iron rod in his hand was twisted out of shape. The middle of the rod protruded out, and the area where he held it became thinner. Wu Yi attacked aggressively. His 5 fingers turned into dragon claws. A huge shadow tore through the void like a real 5-clawed divine dragon. Then, a huge dragon appeared in the sky and pounced towards Yi Qinghan. It was obviously a divine technique. Dragon transformation. Yi Qinghan soared into the sky. His huge tail swept across and smashed through the universe. The houses in 6 realms' divine city were turned into fine powder and dissipated. He forcefully collided with the Xiong Xinjiao dragon god and Wu Yi, creating a huge explosion. The force of the collision sent the witch god guards and blood evil guards flying. The 3 experts were also sent flying. Bang! Yi Qinghan landed on the ground. His leg bone was in pain. The rod smashed by the Xiong Xinjiao dragon god was not light. Bang! Mo Li was also smashed to the ground by the second witch god. He kept sliding until he reached Yi Qinghan's feet. He hugged Yi Qinghan's long legs and stopped. He was in an extremely sorry state. Damn it, I can't beat that person. Mo Li let go of Yi Qinghan's long legs and cursed loudly. The divine protective robe on his body was shattered into pieces. His divine power transformed into a divine robe, but he was still in an extremely awkward position. Divine bird, do you have any good ideas? Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated as he pulled the divine bird out and asked. The divine bird shrunk its head and narrowed its eyes. It said wretchedly, "Little money grubber and I will go and ask for reinforcements first. Can you guys help me stop this group of people?" Yi Qinghan coldly snorted and rejected the divine bird's idea on the spot. Let's not talk about whether the divine bird would come back after escaping. Even if the 2 of them could come back, whether they went to the Demon God Mountain or the insane sect, they wouldn't be able to hold on until reinforcements came. Moreover, the divine bird would never come back after escaping. It would be foolish to believe its mouth. Hurry up and think of a way. Don't think so much. I can't run away, and neither can you, Yi Qinghan coldly reprimanded. The divine bird couldn't help but feel depressed. There were so many experts here. Without Yi Qinghan's help, it definitely wouldn't be able to escape. However, it quickly cheered up. In order to find a way to survive, its thieving eyes flashed as it stared at the three experts. Suddenly, it shouted, "Stop! All of you, stop! Let's talk nicely. Fighting and killing is too unprofessional." The second sorcerer god stopped with interest. Looking at the divine bird's wretched appearance, he asked curiously, "Divine soul-devouring parrot, then what do you think I should do?" Any problem that can be solved with resources is not a problem. If a pile of resources can't solve it, then use a pile of resources to solve it. If it still can't solve it, then double it. If you let me go, I'll give you a huge amount of resources. It's enough for you to use for a lifetime, okay? The divine bird said seriously to the second sorcerer god. The second sorcerer god laughed in a hoarse voice and said coldly, "But my goal is to let the insane sect and the demon god mountain kill each other. How do I solve this?" The divine bird immediately turned hostile. However, it wasn't towards the second sorcerer god, but towards Emoli. It shouted at Yi Qinghan, "Master, kill Emoli. We'll fall out with the demon god mountain and fulfill this senior's wish." Emoli's hair stood on end, and he almost jumped 3 feet into the air. He turned around and glared at the divine bird in anger. His face twitched, and his eyes seemed to be on fire. He felt that this bastard was more than just despicable. It was simply despicable to a whole new level. "Ha ha ha, that's a good suggestion. Sect Master Yi, please fulfill this old man's wish. Kill Emoli, and I'll let you go," the second sorcerer god laughed wildly. Chapter 1152. Yi Qinghan and Emoli were both enraged by the divine bird's despicable words. The second sorcerer god was obviously mocking them. Even if Yi Qinghan really killed Emoli, he wouldn't be able to live. Not only that, but he would also implicate the insane sect in the face of the demon god mountain's full revenge. The divine bird spoke very seriously as it stared at Yi Qinghan, hoping that he would make a move. Emoli's face turned red from anger. His originally handsome face became distorted, and he wished that he could slap this despicable bird to death. "Idiot, you guys fight first. I'll go find the array core of the Great City Barrier Array and tear down this barrier," the divine bird said wretchedly. "Kill him. Anyway, we have a grudge against the demon god mountain. Don't forget those heroes of the insane sect who died." The divine bird spread its wings and shouted. Divine flames covered the sky, reminding Yi Qinghan to use the divine flames to block his vision so that it could escape. The corner of Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He clenched the insane sect in his hand, killing intent radiating from him. Emoli was shocked and took a few steps back. He looked at Yi Qinghan cautiously and said coldly, "Yi Qinghan, don't be stupid. If you attack me now, this group of people won't let you go." Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly as he said, "At least I can avenge the heroes who died. When I go to hell, I'll have the face to see my dead brothers and sisters, right?" Even the second sorcerer god didn't expect that Yi Qinghan would really kill Emoli. However, the second sorcerer god and the others didn't continue to attack. Instead, they sat on the mountain and watched the tigers fight. It was obvious that they didn't want to sacrifice the blood evil guards and sorcerer guards. These two people were definitely at the divine master level, and they were even stronger than the second sorcerer god. The second sorcerer god was expressionless. He waved his hand and signaled everyone to step back and make room for Yi Qinghan. At this moment, Yi Qinghan suddenly exploded. Divine flames covered the sky and spread out for thousands of miles, enveloping the second sorcerer god and the blood evil guards. He himself turned into a flaming war god and slashed at Emoli. His blade chi was unstoppable. It didn't seem like he was faking it at all. He had clearly used his full strength, the divine flames couldn't be extinguished. A dozen sorcerer guards were who didn't have the time to escape, the flames couldn't be extinguished, and they were. The flames couldn't be, they were, and the flames. And. Under the protection of the little Jinwu, the divine bird and the little moneygrubber took advantage of the chaos to escape. In a flash, they disappeared into an empty building. Rolling and crawling, they ran along the street walls and quickly left the second Lord of Sorcerer's sight. Yi Qinghan aggressively attacked Emoli. Emoli was caught unprepared and had to defend against the divine flames. He didn't dare to let it touch him and was defeated. The buildings outside the Six Realms divine city were razed to the ground, and everything within 100 miles was turned into ruins. The divine bird acted alone and rushed to the center of the Six Realms divine city. The little golden crow and the little golden crow rushed to the inner city together, hoping to find the eye of the great city barrier array and undo the barrier. The little golden crow obviously wouldn't let the divine bird and the little miser search together. This was also Yi Qinghan's intention, to prevent this guy from being inhumane and directly giving up on them, bringing the little miser out of the Six Realms divine city. The little golden crow couldn't leave the little golden crow, so the divine bird had no choice but to search for the eye of the great city barrier array. It spread its wings and ran on the ground. It didn't dare to fly high, but its speed wasn't slow. Its two little claws were about to leave the ground. "Fuck you, you don't believe this divine bird, and you even detained my beloved wife." The divine bird cursed Yi Qinghan as it ran. Very quickly, it rushed into the inner city, its eyes flashing as it searched for the great array core. The energy fluctuations of a great array core of this level would definitely be very strong. Even if it was hidden using a special method, it could hide it from others, but it couldn't hide it from the divine bird, who relied on its sense of smell to eat. The divine bird wished that it could grow 8 legs and run wildly on the ground, constantly changing its position, searching for places with abnormal energy fluctuations. Suddenly, it smelled a bloody stench and rushed towards a large lake northwest of the Six Realms divine city. However, when it reached there, it almost fainted from fright. Corpses piled up like mountains, blood flowed like rivers, broken limbs and countless broken corpses were everywhere, as if all the living beings in the Six Realms divine city were here, all of them killed. Fuck your mother. So fucking ruthless. The divine bird cursed loudly. Looking at the wriggling bones and flesh, it couldn't help but feel nauseous. The entire lake was dyed red with blood, and not a single person was left alive. In order to kill Yi Qinghan and Emoli, this group of people actually went to such extremes. The divine bird didn't want to take another look, it turned its head and fled towards the center of the city. There was no life in the city, and there were many places with energy fluctuations. Most of them were the places where the wealth of the Six Realms domain gathered, the Six Realms auction house's treasury. The divine bird secretly said, "Can't waste it. Since you are all dead, give it to me. When I become stronger in the future, I will avenge you." After saying that, the divine bird took a break from its busy work. It opened the universe ring that had a huge internal space and swept away all the resources, divine sources, and rare treasures. The entire treasury suddenly became empty, and only a few broken stones were rolling on the ground. Shio that the divine bird changed its position and consecutively released 5 treasure locations, taking away all the resources, but it didn't find the great array core. I'm really fucking a bird. Could it be that my innate ability is useless? I have searched the entire inner city, but why can't I find the special energy of the great array core? The divine bird glanced around in puzzlement. After searching the entire inner city, it still couldn't find the great array core. At this moment, the little miser found the divine bird under the little golden crow's watch. It also had a helpless expression, it seemed like it also couldn't find the great array core. This shouldn't be. My innate ability has disappeared, but it can't be that yours has disappeared as well, right? Why can't I find the energy fluctuation? The divine bird was furious, it felt very humiliated. When you came, did you notice a blood lake in the northwest? Could it be that the smell of blood and bones have masked the energy fluctuation? The real Great Array Core. Yes. The Great Array Core is in that pile of bones. The little miser suddenly exclaimed. Fuck. These bastards are really smart. They actually managed to trick this divine bird. The divine bird spread its wings and rushed towards the blood lake in the northwest again. The little golden crow restrained its aura and followed it to the side of the blood lake. It really couldn't bear to continue watching. This kind of killing of its own kind was probably something only this kind of human could do. It was simply more beastly than a beast. It didn't have the slightest bit of intelligence. It's down there. Brother, I'm not good with water. Why don't you go down and destroy the Great Array Core? The divine bird looked at the disgusting pile of bones and blood. It really didn't want to go down, so it turned its head and looked at the little golden crow. The little golden crow was of the fire attribute. Wasn't it purely looking for death by going down to the bottom of the lake? Roar! The little golden crow roared at the divine bird and glared at it fiercely. The divine bird couldn't help but admit defeat. It smiled embarrassedly and retreated, looking at the little miser. The little miser immediately glared at it and said in exasperation, "You heartless thing. Do you want me, a beautiful divine bird, to go into the blood lake?" The divine bird immediately withered. There was no one to order it around, so it had to do it personally. It clenched its teeth and plunged into the pile of bones. Chapter 1153. Outside the city, Yi Qinghan and Mo Li fought until the heavens and the earth split apart. Half of the Six Realms' divine city was affected by the chaos. At the peak of the sky, flames burned the sky. The second sorcerer god only surrounded and did not attack. He quietly waited for the two of them to be injured. The old face under the mask revealed a strange smile. Yi Qinghan was really forceful in his attacks. Mo Li was almost killed twice. Blood splattered across the sky. He was so angry that he almost used a forbidden technique. However, Yi Qinghan always used up his strength when he was about to be unable to hold on. No one could tell if Yi Qinghan was deliberately going easy on Mo Li or if he was really not strong enough. Boom! Boom! The two of them fought in the sky and occasionally dove down to the ground. Wu Yi looked at Yi Qinghan mockingly. The ridicule in his eyes was self-evident. Are you smart? Aren't you still being used? Do you think you can walk out alive after killing Mo Li? Wu Yi laughed evilly, treating Yi Qinghan as a dead man. Whoosh! Suddenly, heaven and earth roared and the earth trembled. The barrier in the sky suddenly collapsed. Let's go! Yi Qinghan shouted and directly tore the sky apart, pulling Mo Li away. The two of them disappeared and fled out of the Six Realms' divine city. Wu Yi and the second sorcerer god, who were originally proud, suddenly changed their expressions. Go and see what's going on with the array core. The second sorcerer god was furious and roared at Wu Yi. He then led a large group of blood demon guards and sorcerer god guards in the direction Yi Qinghan escaped. The divine python dragon was stunned at first, but it quickly chased after them. A rainbow appeared in the sky. Yi Qinghan crazily dragged Mo Li and fled. Even the small chaos beast had been fused. He did not want to fight with that group of people at all. Mo Li was a little dazed. He thought that Yi Qinghan really wanted to kill him, but it turned out that he was just stalling for time. At the Six Realms' divine city's blood lake, the divine bird was directly swept into the sky by a wave of blood. It shouted at the little miser and the little golden crow, "Run, fool! Are you waiting for someone to kill you?" Whoosh! The divine bird was not careless. After it was blasted out by the energy wave, it flipped over and controlled its body to rush towards the north of the city. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! The three supreme-grade divine beasts turned into flames and charged towards the city's northern gate. Wuyi saw the divine bird from afar and was instantly enraged. Only then did he realize that the array core of the spirit array was broken by this weirdo. Boom! Wuyi waved his giant palm print. His divine power soared to the heavens as he forcefully shattered the sky and blasted towards the divine bird. Whoosh! The divine power created a shockwave that sent the three divine beasts flying, but it also increased the speed of the divine birds, allowing them to rush to the city gate. Whoosh! Whoosh! The little golden crow spat out a mouthful of fire at the city gate, engulfing a few blood-evil guards. The fire could burn everything, and anything that came in contact with it would be set ablaze. The blood-evil guards instantly screamed in agony. The three divine beasts took the opportunity to rush out of the six realms' divine city and towards the realm gate. "Open the gate," the divine bird shouted at the little golden crow. The little golden crow used the power of the divine fire to blast open the gate. Together with the divine bird and the little money grubber, they rushed in. Coordinates. Give me the coordinates. Where are we escaping to? The little money grubber looked at Wuyi, who was rushing over, and exclaimed. Whatever. Whatever. Let's talk after we escape. The divine bird roared. The little money grubber randomly entered a set of coordinates and opened the realm gate. Boom boom boom. The realm gate opened, but before they could completely leave, Wuyi tore through the void and directly entered the realm gate. He was also teleported away. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The realm gate teleported time and space. The three divine beasts and Wuyi flipped around in the space-time cave. They were unable to control their bodies and were even more unable to attack. After flipping around for a long time, the divine bird cried out in shock. Although it didn't know that the one who followed them in was Wuyi, it knew that he was very strong, second only to Yi Qinghan. Boom! After an unknown period of time, the teleportation ended. The divine bird and the little golden crow brought the little money grubber over a blood ditch and crashed into a valley. Fuck, this is the entrance to the eternal cloud sky. The divine bird had been here before. Behind it was the black lotus blood ditch, filled with poisonous gas, and in front of it was the extremely dangerous eternal cloud sky great world. Boom! Wuyi was immediately thrown out of the realm gate. Before he could stabilize himself, he saw the divine bird bringing the little money grubber and the little golden crow towards the entrance of the eternal cloud sky. Boom! The divine bird and the rest rushed into the entrance quickly and were almost crushed by the vast energy. Wuyi followed in without hesitation. He hated the divine bird to the bone and couldn't wait to kill them. Shio shio shio. One man and three divine beasts chased crazily. They chased into the eternal cloud sky and were still unwilling to give up. The divine bird's light flashed again and brought the little golden crow and the little money grubber through the ravines, occasionally dodging Wu Ye's tyrannical attacks. It transformed at the edge of a cliff. Fuck, why are you chasing us? Didn't you want to kill Yi Qinghan? The divine bird was going crazy. Its hair stood on end and it didn't even dare to turn its head as it scolded loudly. I'm going to roast you and eat you. Wu Yi was furious. This divine bird was too despicable. It actually ruined the witch race's plans at the crucial moment. You have a strong taste. I'll give you a cannon, eat it. Whoosh. The divine bird spat out a pile of poop and shot it behind. Wu Yi chased from behind, but because the mountain blocked his view, he didn't see what it was. He thought it was a hidden weapon and reached out to grab it. When he caught it, he realized it was bird poop and his face turned green. Ah! I'm going to kill you. Boom! Wu Yi roared and swung his sword at the divine bird. The divine bird seemed to be running around aimlessly, but in fact, it had its own goal. It ran continuously until it reached the valley where the nine heavens god Lotus was and dragged the little money grubber into the valley. The nine heavens god Lotus swayed and circles of divine light illuminated the valley. It was magnificent and the water was calm, as if there were no living creatures. Nine heavens god Lotus goddess, this divine bird is here to see you again. The divine bird wretchedly pounced on the nine heavens god Lotus. There was no other way. It was a desperate attempt. No one could save them. They could only rely on underhanded methods to kill Wuyi. The nine heavens god Lotus looked at the divine bird in confusion. It didn't transform into a human form, but it didn't dislike spiritual beasts, so it didn't attack. The little money grubber and the little golden crow knew that there was a terrifying water monkey under the water. Even Yi Qin Han almost suffocated in it, so they stayed away from the water and rushed to the center of the water. Boom! Wu Yi rushed into the valley. When he saw the nine heavens god Lotus, he was overjoyed. Ha ha ha, the heavens gave me a treasure. It's actually the legendary nine heavens god Lotus, the raw material of the supreme divine weapon. Wu Yi laughed wildly. He stepped on the surface of the lake and stepped on the lotus leaves. He stared at the divine bird and closed in. He said coldly, "Little thing, I really have to thank you." The divine bird panted as it lay on a lotus leaf closest to the nine heavens divine lotus. It glared at Wu Yi and shouted, "Bastard, if you dare to take one step closer, do you believe that I will kill you? Is that so?" Wu Ye's lips curled up slightly as he mocked. "You don't believe me? Even a fish below can kill you. This divine bird can't be bothered to make a move." The divine bird's eyes flashed as it spat out a bit of divine power at Wu Ye's feet. It stirred the lotus leaves, hoping to alarm the water monkey. "Ha ha ha, even a fish can kill me. I'd like to see how you're going to kill me today." Wu Yi laughed loudly as he continued to step closer to the center of the lake. The water rippled and the divine lotus swayed. Suddenly, the ripples under Wu Ye's feet became bigger. Following that, a furry arm reached out and grabbed Wu Ye's ankle, pulling hard. Bang! Wu Yi was shocked. He was dragged into the water and the waves soared into the sky. Chapter 1154. Wu Yi did not expect the underwater creature to be so fast. It was so fast that even a saint master like him could not react in time. Boom boom boom. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The waves soared into the sky and hit the sky. The impact at the bottom of the water lifted the divine lotuses. However, the nine heavens divine lotuses leaves moved and a mighty divine power suppressed the waves. It did not affect the ordinary divine lotuses around. After a long time, the struggle at the bottom of the water became weaker and weaker. The turbid mud was swept up. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, this idiot is so strong. He can actually resist for so long. The divine bird patted its chest with its wings. Its legs went soft as it sat on the lotus leaf and did not move for a long time. The nine heavens divine lotus transformed into a human form, so beautiful that it could move the hearts of all living things. Her skin was as smooth as jade, and not a single drop of water could touch it. Precious light flowed around her, and any man would want to commit a crime. At this moment, she looked down at the divine bird, and a melodious voice like the sounds of nature rang out. "Devouring divine parrot, please leave my territory." The divine bird rolled its eyes and said unhappily, "What? I don't have any bad intentions. I just want to rest for a while and leave immediately." The nine heavens divine lotus seemed to hate the divine bird. It rudely lifted the lotus leaf and sent the divine bird flying. The divine bird almost fell into the water. It was so frightened that it screamed. It flapped its wings and rushed to the shore with a tremble. It almost cursed out loud. "You stingy brat. If you were not as beautiful as a flower and the number one beauty in the world, I would not sit beside you. The divine bird did not know if it was flattery or true anger. Its tone was full of resentment. It was the first time the nine heavens' divine lotus was so exaggerated. She blushed and asked shyly, "Am I really the number one beauty in the world?" "Barely the number one in the world. If your temper is better and you treat this divine bird better, then you are definitely the number one." The divine bird said wretchedly. After all, the nine heavens' god lotus was still a woman, and a beautiful one at that. Everyone loved beauty. At this moment, after being flattered by the divine bird, she was overjoyed. Her snake-like waist twisted and turned. Only 2 lotus leaves covered her chest, and so did her lower body. A large part of her skin was exposed. The divine bird was dumbfounded. It was lucky that they were not of the same species. Otherwise, it would definitely pounce on them. "How does the world's number one beauty compare to me?" Nine Heaven Lotus asked curiously. "Far, far from you. You're the best. How can those boorish people compare to your beauty? You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my many years of wandering the martial world. No one can compare to you. He's not even fit to carry your shoes. What a pity." The divine bird said regretfully. "What's a pity?" The nine heavens' god lotus pointed at the lotus leaves and raised his eyebrows. "It's a pity that your temper is too bad. Although those beauties outside aren't that pretty, they're very kind. They're especially polite to me, which makes their temperament stand out. Although you're beautiful and have an excellent temperament, your bad temper has destroyed your elegance. Otherwise, you'd be the most perfect existence." The divine bird said solemnly. "How is her temper bad? Who asked your spirit-engulfing divine parrot race to have such a bad reputation?" The nine heavens' divine lotus pouted in dissatisfaction. Gulp, the divine bird swallowed a mouthful of saliva, rolled its eyes, and said in dissatisfaction, "There are hundreds of people of all shapes and sizes. Every race has its scum. You can't just sweep them all away and attack our entire race. This divine bird is loved by everyone, and flowers bloom when they see me. I only believe in one master, and I have been loyal for tens of thousands of years. I will never betray my master. Aren't you afraid of hurting my young and pure heart by saying such vicious words to this divine bird who adores you so much?" The nine heavens' divine lotus was speechless and didn't know how to explain. The little miser and the little golden crow looked at each other in the air. They didn't expect this guy to be so good at lying. The divine bird sighed as if he had been wronged. He stared at the nine heavens' divine lotus and said, "Sigh, you don't understand me. I don't blame you. Who asked my race to have such a bad reputation? Just let my heart of love be buried in this lake and disappear with the passing of time. I hope that one day, you can occasionally think of me, the poor spirit-engulfing divine parrot, when you're bored." After saying that, the divine bird slowly turned around. A sorrowful aura was emitted from its body, as if it had experienced the vicissitudes of life for tens of thousands of years. It walked step by step towards the exit of the canyon. Looking at the back of the divine bird, the nine heavens' divine lotus suddenly felt that he had seen it somewhere before. He felt very guilty. He was ashamed that he had hurt such a pure divine bird who loved him so much. Yes, there are bad people in every race. I can't kill all of them with a stool. I misunderstood it, the nine heavens' god lotus muttered to himself. He then raised his head and stared at the back of the divine bird with his pitch-black eyes. He hurriedly said, "Devouring soul parrot, don't go yet. I didn't mean to scold you. Please forgive my rudeness. Please accept my sincere apologies. Please accept this godly lotus essence as compensation for my guilt." After she finished speaking, the nine heavens' divine lotus extended her jade-like arm. A lotus seed with golden radiance that rushed into the sky appeared between her jade-like slender fingers. It was accompanied by tens of thousands of techniques, almost perfect to the extreme. It was definitely a rare supreme treasure, not much inferior to her own body. The divine bird slowly turned around. 2 drops of tears were squeezed out of its eyes. It was definitely a fighter among the best actors. You are indeed the most beautiful existence. Not only are you beautiful and elegant, but you are also so kind. What should I do? My polluted soul has been purified by you. Ouch! The divine bird wailed loudly. It flapped its wings and rushed towards the 9 heavens divine lotus. The 9 heavens divine lotus had never seen such a glib tongue. Let alone a bird, even a human couldn't speak as well. If Yi Qing Han were to say these words, he probably wouldn't be able to say it even if he was beaten to death. It's fine, it's fine. You must treat this divine lotus well. If you have the chance, you can cultivate another 9 heavens divine lotus. Unfortunately, I was too young back then and didn't know much. I almost let it die. This land is no longer suitable for it to grow. You are the spirit-engulfing divine parrot, you must cultivate it. The 9 heavens divine lotus trusted the divine bird very much. She gave it a few more seeds. Unfortunately, this trust was better placed on a dog than on the divine bird. Woo-woo. Believe me, I will definitely cultivate it into a seedling. I will let it breathe the most beautiful spiritual energy in the world. I will let it remember your kindness. The divine bird excitedly picked up the divine lotus seed and quickly hid it in the yin and yang ring. The 9 heavens divine lotus raised her jade finger and touched the divine bird's crest. She whispered, "This is the water monkey's territory. If you don't leave now, it will get angry. Quickly leave this place." The divine bird looked back 3 times with every step and said seriously, "I will definitely come back to see you in the future." After saying that, the divine bird signaled the little money grubber and the little golden crow to leave together. This 9 heavens divine lotus is so silly and naive. It actually believed you. The little money grubber laughed so hard that his intestines were about to cramp. The little golden crow also looked at the divine bird with disdain. This fellow was too good at cheating people. The divine bird said seriously, "What do you mean by silly? I am beautiful, kind, and have a good temperament. It actually trusts me so much. I must cultivate this divine lotus seed into a second 9 heavens divine lotus and let it transform into a human form. You are so disgusting. It's fine if you cheat the 9 heavens divine lotus, but you actually lied to us. It's fine if you lied to us, but you even lied to yourself. You are really a big liar. There is no cure." The little money grubber ridiculed in disdain. Chapter 1155. The divine bird was so serious that the little golden crow was not used to it. Could it be that it wants to turn over a new leaf? Is a woman's charm that great? The little golden crow muttered to itself, doubting whether the divine bird really wanted to cultivate the 9 heavens lotus. The divine bird walked in front with a proud look, feeling proud in its heart. It thought, "Master is really good at showing off. That back view, TSK, I only learned 70 to 80% of it and I already got the 9 heavens lotus. Kakik, I'm an expert at picking up girls, but I got the 9 heavens lotus first." The little miser looked at the divine bird's back view and curled its lips in disdain. The 3 divine beasts did not dare to go deep into the Wanguyuntian great world. They rushed all the way to the exit and spent a lot of effort to tear it apart. The 3 of them rushed out of the Wanguyuntian great world and crossed the blood ditch, rushing all the way back to the South Horizon region. They returned to the Azura region through the South Horizon region's domain gate. After asking around, they found out that Yi Qing Han had not returned yet. Only then did the people of the crazy sect know that Yi Qing Han and Mo Li were surrounded. They immediately became anxious and sent a message to Qin Wentian, but Mo Li did not return either. The two great powers tried to find out the whereabouts of the two. That day, Yi Qinghan and Mo Li escaped from the Six Paths Divine City in a panic. They ran all the way, almost reversing time and space. They were chased by the second-generation Sorcerer God and the Serpent God for an entire day and night. They fought and ran at the same time, destroying tens of thousands of miles of space. In the end, the Sorcerer God guards and the Blood Evil guards could not take it anymore and had no choice but to give up. The second-generation Sorcerer God was flustered and exasperated. Such a perfect plan had actually failed. The formation core was clearly hidden in the pile of flesh and bones. How could it be destroyed? A large number of Blood Evil guards searched for Wu Yi, but they returned without success. The second-generation Sorcerer God and the Serpent God had no choice but to lead the two great guards to hide in the void and disappear in the night. They then secretly returned to the Sorcerer race's ancestral land. When they returned to the ancestral land, they found out that Wu Ye's life jade was broken. The second-generation Sorcerer God was furious and almost flipped the Sorcerer Temple. This was a true case of trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. The plan that was supposed to be 100% successful had not only failed, but Yi Qinghan had also escaped. The Holy Master Wu Yi had actually fallen. Fortunately, the second sorcerer did not know that the array core of the Great City Barrier Array had been destroyed by the Divine Bird. He also did not know that Wu Yi had been killed by the Divine Bird. Otherwise, he would have caught the Divine Bird and skinned it to vent his anger. Who interfered with this old man's plan? Even this old man couldn't do it. The second sorcerer god took a deep breath and sat on the sorcerer god's throne with a frown. Is he from the outer realm? Serpent frowned. He hadn't expected such an expert to exist in the chaotic universe. An outsider. Killing intent flashed across the second sorcerer god's face, and in a flash, he left the sorcerer god palace and headed straight for the Six Paths domain. The Xiu Xinjiao followed closely behind. Who knew how many tens of thousands of miles away, Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were gasping for breath as they galloped without stopping. Up until now, they didn't know where they had run to. In short, they had been galloping at top speed for 2 days and 2 nights before they slowly came to a stop. As far as the eye could see, there were thousands of ravines, snow-covered mountains, and rugged mountain ranges that were like the backbone of a coiling dragon. A gust of cold wind blew past, causing the two youths with dense yang qi to shiver. Yi Qinghan stood on the peak of a mountain, his hair fluttering in the wind. He looked up and found that there were only stars in the sky. There was no sun, no moon, and no darkness. He couldn't tell the direction at all. Where is this? Yi Qinghan turned to look at Mo Li and asked in a deep voice. Mo Li pressed his hands on his knees and bent his body. He was still panting heavily, and he was so tired that his legs were trembling. The great demonic god had probably never suffered such great humiliation in his life. Hearing Yi Qinghan's question, Mo Li stood up and looked around. Apart from the snow, there wasn't even a single beast. In the vast snowfield, there wasn't a single landmark. Even after looking for a long time, he still couldn't figure out where he was. Let's go deeper and see if there's anything special. My race's secret scriptures didn't record this place. Moreover, there are still many unexplored territories in the primal chaos universe. Many places are still unknown. Mo Li slowly stood up. He felt that his waist and legs were about to break. He looked at Yi Qinghan again and found that he was completely fine. After fighting for so long and dragging him along for so long, Mo Li didn't look tired at all except for his short breath. His back was still straight as he leisurely walked on the snow. Mo Li couldn't help but sigh, "You're really a monster." Yi Qinghan's lips curled up. He didn't say anything and directly walked deeper. Mo Li frowned and took out his communication talisman. He was shocked to find that he couldn't send any messages here. It was as if he had stepped out of the primal chaos universe. Is your communication talisman still working? Mine can't be used. I need to inform Demon God Mountain. Otherwise, it won't be good if they misunderstand, Mo Li asked in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan took out his communication talisman and found that it was like a piece of useless jade. He asked in surprise, is this place very far from the primal chaos plane? We've only been running for 2 days. It's impossible for us to have left the primal chaos plane. Mo Li pondered for a moment and said in a low voice, I suspect that our speed exceeded the limit at a certain time and place. We reversed time and space and left the primal chaos plane. Is there really an outer realm? Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank. If they ran to the outer realm, then it would be terrible. There's definitely an outer realm. That formless person isn't fake. It's impossible for such a person to exist in the primal chaos plane. He's completely invisible and traceless, with only a trace of energy fluctuation, Yi Qinghan said with certainty. It's over. If Demon God Mountain misunderstands that it was your insane sect that kidnapped me, there will definitely be chaos, Mo Li said anxiously. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and shook his head. It shouldn't be. Even if we left, the divine bird is still in the primal chaos plane. That guy will take care of it. After discussing for a while, Yi Qinghan decided to move forward. The thin spiritual energy here made it impossible for Mo Li to recover his divine power. The past few days of frantically fleeing and killing had nearly drained him of all his divine power. However, Yi Qinghan was still in peak condition, which made Mo Li so confused that he almost went crazy. How did you do it? Why can't I recover my divine power? Mo Li asked angrily. Yi Qinghan coldly glanced at Mo Li and said, I have a 9-dragon root. It will make up for my divine power. Only then did Mo Li let out a sigh of relief. He thought that Yi Qinghan was a monster with inexhaustible divine power. Please lend it to me. Right now, I'm empty of divine power. I can't even do the most basic flying. If you encounter any danger, I'll be a burden. Mo Li smiled and begged in a low voice. Use 1 drop of supreme divine power each time, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Mo Li was flustered and exasperated. He almost flipped out. Forget it, Yi Qinghan snorted and said without any trace of politeness. Use. Take it. This is the only drop I have. Mo Li was helpless. He could only take out a drop of supreme divine power and give it to Yi Qinghan. Although this thing was powerful, it was only suitable for battle. Otherwise, the body would not be able to withstand it and most of its power would be wasted. In this dangerous place, he might as well let Yi Qinghan have it. Who knew what kind of things they would encounter later? Chapter 1156. Mo Li had used the 9-dragon root to recover his strength, but Yi Qinghan had swindled him out of a drop of supreme divine power. That drop of supreme divine power was the one he had traded for the least, but he still had to ask for it. Yi Qinghan took the 9-dragon root and continued walking deeper. Mo Li helplessly followed Yi Qinghan. He always felt that he was an obedient child when he followed Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was the great demonic god, a great demonic god who could calculate every single detail and eat people whole without spitting out their bones. Yi Qinghan was incomparably cold. He walked on the snow without leaving a trace. He seemed to be walking slowly, but in fact, he was walking very fast. After crossing more than 10 snowy mountains, there were still more snowy mountains in front of him. It was as if there was no end in sight. The air in the sky was too cold. Even the fire origin could not be used. It could freeze a giant god to death, so he could only walk slowly. Yi Qinghan was the kind of person who would walk a path to the end. Even if he hit a wall, he would break it and continue walking. Therefore, he did not change his direction and chose to go deeper. Mo Li could not refute and could only follow. Just like that, the two of them walked forward without saying a word. They did not know how long they had walked or how far they had walked. Yi Qinghan did not say a word, only leaving Mo Li with an unsurpassable back. He wanted Mo Li to gradually get used to being behind him. If it's the outer realm, how can we return? Mo Li asked. First, find the outer realm creatures and ask them, Yi Qinghan calmly said. What if the two realms are not connected, or they are filled with hostility and are unwilling to help us? Mo Li asked again. The outer realm and the primal chaos realm must be connected. That formless person can enter the primal chaos realm, and we can enter this world. How can there not be a passage? Yi Qinghan indifferently replied, as for if they are hostile, we will fight until they are not. Isn't this how the demon god mountain dealt with the inner realm people? Don't tell me they don't have the guts to deal with the outer realm people. Mo Li was left speechless by Yi Qinghan's domineering retort. He could not find any words to refute. That question was indeed somewhat idiotic. When Yi Qinghan saw that Mo Li was no longer speaking, he continued forward. Woo! The cold wind reverberated in the valley. The thousands of snowy mountains were endless, and the cold wind could not be blown out. It could only reverberate back and forth. It was incomparably gloomy, and the cold air was pressing. Yi Qinghan's eyes were mesmerizing. As he advanced, he observed the vast snowy mountains. Suddenly, a special snow ditch appeared in his line of sight. Although it was covered in snow, he could still tell that it wasn't formed randomly. It was a mark left behind by a creature. It was more than 10 zhang wide, and its length was unknown. Its depth was about 7 or 8 meters. It could be a large-scale flood dragon creature. However, in this cold place, normal flood dragons are not suitable for living. Could it be a giant dragon? Mo Li was experienced and knowledgeable, so he quickly identified the creature's original form. Yi Qinghan squatted on one side of the snow ditch and reached out to touch the snow. He found that it was not very hard, so the creature must have left not long ago. Boom! Boom! Whoosh! Whoosh! All of a sudden, the snow mountain in front of them collapsed. It was a magnificent sight. It was as if the snow was going to cover the world and swallow everything. Roar! A long, frost-colored dragon coiled up like a mountain. Its long head was hanging on a mountain peak, overlooking Yi Qinghan and Mo Li. They were about 10 li apart, but the cold air was pressing down on them, freezing their hearts. Even Yi Qinghan felt that the cold air was going to freeze him. What the hell is this thing? A frost giant dragon? Yi Qinghan frowned and asked. Yes. Yes, we seem to be in trouble. This thing seems to have appeared in the primal chaos era. Its strongest move, Frost Breath, froze 4 primal chaos giant gods. Even the over-gods' movements were frozen for 3 breaths of time. Mo Li was shocked as he said in a serious tone. Can it speak human language? Does it have intelligence? Can it communicate? Yi Qinghan's muscles tensed up. That kind of coldness that came from his bones made him nervous. It can communicate. It speaks primal chaos dragon language and disdains to speak god language, Mo Li said in a low voice. The frost giant dragon's eyes were even bigger than lanterns as it coldly looked at Yi Qinghan and Mo Li. There was some doubt in its eyes, but there was also some killing intent. It breathed out white mist, freezing time and space. Yi Qinghan looked at the frost giant dragon's hostility and clenched his fists. He did not know if this frost giant dragon was hostile to other giant dragons. For the time being, he did not dare to take the risk. Roar! The frost giant dragon let out a low roar and coiled its body, revealing half of its body and covering the entire snowy mountain peak. One could only see the dragon head but not the tail. Mo Li took a few steps back with an ugly expression. He looked at Yi Qinghan and said in a low voice, "Don't you have the dragon race's bloodline? Try to communicate with it." This thing is fighting on its home ground in this snowfield. Even if we work together, we might not be able to beat it. Roar. Yi Qinghan's body gradually turned into a dragon. He let out a long dragon roar and looked at the frost giant dragon in the sky. Yi Qinghan spoke in Draconic. Frost dragon, I have no ill intentions. I just happened to land here by coincidence. I just want to leave as soon as possible. I hope that you can help me. The frost giant dragon was stunned. It realized that Yi Qinghan was really a giant dragon. No wonder the dragon race's aura was so pure. Roar. The frost giant dragon coiled around the snowy mountain peak and roared in dragon language, shattering the snowy mountain. This is the snow country's divine world. You are not a creature of this world. Why did you descend here? The frost giant dragon asked coldly. Yi Qinghan was shocked. He had indeed left the divine world. Yi Qinghan quickly replied, I was being chased by enemies. By chance, I traveled through time and space to descend to the snow country's divine world. Please help me leave and return to the primal chaos realm. A creature of the primal chaos realm. That low-level realm actually hasn't been destroyed. The frost giant dragon murmured. It seemed to be very disdainful of the primal chaos realm. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. If the primal chaos realm was a low-level realm, then how strong were the other 8 realms? There are no entrances between realms. Unless by chance, they are not connected. Unless your cultivation has reached the realm lord level, then you can open a passage. The frost giant dragon thought for a moment and replied coldly. Realm lord. Yi Qinghan naturally understood what level that was. At least the supreme god was not a realm lord. The desolation master was at the realm lord level. There was at least a big gap between the two. May I ask if there is a realm lord in the snow country's divine world? Is this realm hostile to the outer realm? Yi Qinghan asked in a serious tone. The snow country's divine world naturally has a realm lord. Other than the primal chaos realm, which is a small realm with a mental problem, the other realms all have their own realm lords. Of course, hundreds of eras ago, the Great Desolation realm was destroyed and the realm lord was erased. No one wanted to enter the primal chaos realm. The frost giant dragon said coldly, the enmity between the various realms is very strong. They don't allow people from the other realms to enter their own realm. Once they enter, they will definitely be killed and their corpses studied. Although the snow country's divine world's people don't have much enmity towards people from a small place like the primal chaos realm, it doesn't hinder their research spirit. The frost giant dragon kept talking about a small place like the primal chaos realm. It even attacked with extremely malicious words, which made Yi Qinghan and Emoli very unhappy. No matter how weak the primal chaos realm was, it was still their mother realm. However, there was nothing they could do. It seemed that the people from the other realms treated the primal chaos realm as natives. Chapter 1157. Yi Qinghan asked about the basics of the snow country's divine realm and found out that the snow country's divine realm was boundless. Even if the primal chaos realm was stuffed in, it would only be the size of this snowfield. It was on a completely different level. Compared to the other 8 realms, the primal chaos realm's resources could only be described as lacking. No wonder the primal chaos realm couldn't produce a realm lord. There was a limit to the resources and the great Tao. If the primal chaos realm produced a realm lord, then all living things in the primal chaos realm would die. The people of the snow country's divine realm all had the physique of the 5 elements. They could control metal, wood, water, fire, earth, ice, lightning, and other spiritual qualities. They could constantly cultivate their spiritual qualities and expand their spiritual space. They could control the 5 elements in their space. The strong ones could destroy the heavens and the earth. The weakest ones could control the environment of an area. However, in the divine world of Snow Country, the most respected were the ice and snow elemental spiritual bodies. This was because the most powerful divine lord of snow was a realm lord. With a wave of his hand, he could freeze the entire snowy plains. In front of him, the giant frost dragon was like a weak child. Even the cold air from the frost breath could not be compared to Qi. They were on completely different levels. The most suppressed ones were the fire spiritual bodies. They were completely suppressed by the ice, snow, and water elements. Now, the fire element had been suppressed to the point of extinction. Without a strong opponent, the ice and snow element experts were almost cut off. Instead, the snow god lord began to cultivate fire spiritual bodies to raise their status. Spirit void spaces were similar to godhood, but they were a different type of cultivation system. However, they were similar in level. The only difference was that the primal chaos world had an additional level of world lord. That was a title that could only be given birth to a single world lord. There were many supreme gods in the snow country's divine realm, but it wasn't to an exaggerated extent. Every supreme god had a high position and was the right hand of the realm lord. They were either the realm lord or the city lord of a big city. They were the pillars of the snow country's divine realm. Every one of them controlled a territory the size of the primal chaos realm. The only good news was that Yi Qinghan's calculation was correct. If they continued to move forward, they would be able to walk out of this snowfield in a few hundred years. When Yi Qinghan heard that they would have to walk for a few hundred years, he almost went berserk. A few hundred years later, we still have to find the way to the primal chaos realm. By then, it would be too late. Mo Li said with a bitter smile. That, fellow clansman, can you give us a ride? I'm willing to compensate you with resources. How about a drop of supreme divine power? Yi Qinghan looked at the frost worm expectantly. Only it could fly in the air without being frozen. If they wanted to get out of the snowfield quickly, they could only rely on it. I need an utmost god power of the ice element. If you have it, I can bring you out. But, he can't. He's a human. How can the mighty dragon race allow a puny ant to trample on them? The colossal frost dragon replied in disdain. Mo Li's position in the chaos realm was extremely revered, but here, he had become a weak ant, a lowly commoner. He even looked down on the frost dragon. At this moment, he could only twitch his face, but he had no words to refute. Yi Qinghan was in a difficult position. Putting aside the fact that he did not have an utmost god power of the ice element, he had to bring Mo Li back this time. Otherwise, it would cause a huge disaster. If the demonic god mountain were to erupt, it would probably destroy the chaos realm. However, the frost worm had no room for negotiation. In short, it would not allow a human to trample on its body. Its bloodline would not allow it to give in. I don't have an utmost god power of the ice element. How about I use 3 supreme divine herbs to make up for it? I'll use my divine power to drag him down and exile him under your body. He won't be able to get close to your body. Is that okay? Yi Qinghan negotiated. It's just a human. Just give him up. The frost worm did not care about Mo Li's life. If Yi Qinghan did not have the colossal dragon bloodline, even he would have been killed. This human is of great use to my Chaos Dragon clan. He cannot die for now. Fellow clansmen, please make an exception. When I return to my clan, I will definitely repay you. Yi Qinghan said seriously. The frost worm looked at Yi Qinghan in astonishment and asked, You are a Chaos Dragon? Although your bloodline is very pure, it is very ordinary. It is impossible for you to be a royal Chaos Dragon. Yi Qinghan shrugged helplessly and continued to explain, currently, the Chaos Realm's dragon clan is on the verge of destruction. Everyone is protecting each other to survive. My beloved wife is a Chaos Dragon, the current leader of the dragon clan. As long as fellow clansman is willing to help me this once, I will definitely repay you in the future. This time, the Frost Wyrm nodded. It was very difficult for the dragon clan to conceive. However, there were many hybrid dragons. Although the dragon clan's individual combat strength was strong, there were not many of them. They were bullied by the humans, so the dragon clan was unusually united. Alright, I will send you guys on your way. The Frost Wyrm twisted its body and transformed into its human form. It was about 2 to 3 meters tall and had an icy aura that could freeze one's heart. Before it even got close to Yi Qinghan, it had already made them tremble. You guys can use your divine power to defend against the cold aura around me. I will defend against the icy aura in the sky. After saying that, the frost dragon grabbed the two of them and took to the sky. Even the air in the sky was frozen. It was not suitable for ordinary creatures to survive. Many creatures were frozen in the air. They had been dead for many years and had turned into fossils. Looking at the crystal clear ice, Mo Li's body stiffened. If the Frost Wyrm threw the two of them into the sky, it would not take long for them to be frozen. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The Frost Wyrm grabbed the two of them like an eagle catching chicks and soared into the sky. After traveling for 2 months, the Frost Wyrm was not tired at all. Instead, it was moving faster and faster. However, the temperature was also getting higher and higher. It was not like the cold in the depths of the snowfield that could freeze people to death. Thin air appeared above, and one could even see a city towering into the clouds in the distance. The majestic spiritual chi was as lively as fairies, and it could communicate with and cooperate with the strong. No wonder the creatures here treated the Chaos Realm as natives and looked down on them. They were not even interested in invading the Chaos Realm. Boom! The Frost Wyrm swooped down and brought the two of them to the outskirts of the snowfield. If they went out, they would be in the human territory. The Frost Wyrm was not willing to go out. Yi Qinghan hurriedly gave out a few supreme sacred herbs and quickly distanced himself from the Frost Wyrm. His body was trembling, and even his teeth were chattering. It was too cold. Mo Li's face was blue from the cold. He had probably never seen such a low temperature in his life. At this moment, his body was stiff and his eyes were blank. He kept wiping his body, hoping to get warmer. Thank you for sending us off. Yi Qinghan cupped his fist and said gratefully. You're welcome. You're welcome. Humans are very dangerous. Take care of yourselves. Moreover, even if you enter the Snow Empire, you may not be able to find your way back. The Realm Master is not interested in the Chaos Realm at all, and others can't open the passage to the Chaos Realm. The Frost Dragon reminded. Then, it seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, I heard that there is an entrance to the Chaos Realm in the Great Wasteland Domain, but the Great Wasteland Domain is so big, and now it's a wasteland. It's not suitable for experts from other domains to cultivate. After speaking, the Frost Wyrm turned around and rushed back into the snowfield. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand to stop the Frost Wyrm and ask about the Great Wasteland Domain, but it was already far away. Recommended by all channels, today's outbreak. I hope everyone can subscribe to the Genesis Chinese Network or QQ reading platform with book coins. Gaodu will be eternally grateful. Chapter 1158. Both of them shivered as they left the snowfield's periphery. Although the temperature outside was very low, it was still a few hundred degrees colder than the temperature inside the snowfield. What the fuck? Why is it so cold here? It can actually freeze souls. Mo Li cursed angrily. He had suffered a lot along the way. The Frost Dragon did not treat him as a human at all and threw him around as it pleased. His dignity was completely trampled on, and he did not even dare to say anything. It'll be fine once you get used to it. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Let's not use the secret techniques of the Chaos Realm in the future. We need to control the ice spirituality. The spirituality here is very active and easy to communicate with. It's not difficult for you and me. Just don't let them find out that we're outsiders." Yi Qinghan was expressionless as he shook his body and walked toward the human territory. Mo Li sighed and shook his head helplessly. He could only follow Yi Qinghan, and the great demon god had become a lackey. Yi Qinghan walked while sensing the ice spirituality. The active spirituality was like an elf that could communicate with humans. The stronger the soul, the easier it was to communicate. Some spiritualities liked violent and domineering souls, some liked gentle souls, and some liked cruel souls. There were also some that liked humans who did not fight for anything. Yi Qinghan's soul covered 100 miles. He reached out and gathered the spiritualities. Countless spiritualities formed a long dragon that rushed into Yi Qinghan's consciousness and formed a world of its own, forming a huge spirituality space. Mo Li was also communicating with the spirituality, but he was communicating with the dark spirituality. Demonic chi surged around him, and the spirituality space was instantly formed. The space was huge and was not inferior to the powerful giant god spirituality space. The two of them wasted a day and completely mastered the usage of the spirituality. They also created some low-level secret techniques to be used together with the spirituality. Although they were not powerful, they could still deal with half-step lord-level powerhouses. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the two of them rose into the air and flew 100 miles, entering the human territory. There were native villages everywhere, and their living habits were no different from those in the Chaos Realm. The only difference was that they were more powerful. Yi Qinghan saw a relatively large tribe a few thousand meters ahead. It was made up of more than 10 villages, but to the southwest was a large forest. Powerful five elements ferocious beasts would occasionally rush out of the villages and attack the villagers. Even the children could control their spiritual essence to resist. Outside the village, there was a huge stockade surrounded by huge trees. There was also a large training field around it. Many children were practicing martial arts under the guidance of the adults and sensing the spiritual essence. Although the temperature was low, these creatures and plants had already gotten used to this type of temperature. They were extremely lush, their green leaves covering time and space. It was quite a beautiful scene. "Let's go into the village and have a look." Yi Qinghan was just about to take a step forward when the ground suddenly trembled. The ferocious beasts roared, and the dust on the icy rocks on the ground became restless. Boom! Boom! Roar roar roar! A large number of speed-type beasts had a few cavalrymen sitting on them. With a single step, they could travel more than a kilometer. In the inner world, where flying was impossible, this kind of speed was already considered very fast. "It's the Black Tiger Mountains Tiger Cavalry. Quickly retreat to the stronghold. Quick!" The adults on the training field roared. They all took the children and fled madly into the stronghold. Immediately after, a large group of black tiger guards rode their black tigers and charged into the tribal stronghold. It was very cruel. The black tigers were dragging behind them a large man in ragged clothes and a young female cultivator who was as beautiful as a flower. They swept up waves of dust on the ground. The female cultivators wailed and the large man roared. Clearly, the outcome was very clear. The men were slaves, and the fate of the female cultivators was even worse. It was hard to imagine that such a barbaric and cruel thing would happen in such a cultivator civilization. Whoosh! It was chaos outside the stronghold. Countless villagers began to flee madly with their children. They directly charged into the village and set up huge crossbows as a defense. The stronghold gate was raised at any time, but there were just too many people outside. Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were also slowly approaching along a hillside. The group of black tiger guards should not be an army but bandits. They charged without restraint, wanting to rush into the village before the stronghold gate was closed. They wanted to plunder resources and seize slaves and female slaves. This place was similar to the South Horizon region in the past. However, the people here were very powerful. A single tribe actually had several Holy Lord level people. The children were half-step Lord level, and they controlled various types of spirituality. The Black Tiger Guards were only a few thousand meters away from the stronghold gate, but there was still a large group of villagers outside. 500 meters, 400 meters, 300 meters, closed the stronghold gate. My children are still outside. Ah! It was chaos outside the stronghold gate. There were at least a few dozen children outside. Close it. Immediately, right now. Creak, the huge gate of the wooden raft, made of an unknown material, was slowly raised. A stronger child swept up more than 10 children around him and rushed into the stronghold at the last moment. Whoosh, another group of children rushed in, but there were still 7 or 8 children who looked like they were 7 or 8 years old outside. This was because the huge gate of the wooden raft had been closed, and the Great Village Protection Formation had been activated. A large number of hunters raised their huge bows and aimed outside. Little Mo. Quickly bring your brothers and sisters under the gate. Stand close to the wall. Swafong. Quickly come to the gate. I'll protect you with my huge bow. The people in the stronghold shouted at the 7 or 8 children below. They had no choice but to close the gate of the stronghold because the Black Tiger Guards had already appeared within 100 meters. They could charge into the stronghold with a single dive. There were about 1,000 Black Tiger Guards, and all of them were Great Khan. Their cultivation levels were high, and there was no lack of giant God Realm experts. Moreover, they were all elite kings. If 3 or 5 of them charged in, there was no way they could close the gate. The 10 strongest experts of the Black Tiger Guards were actually all at the Saint Lord realm. They stood at the very front and looked down at the gate of the stronghold. They saw the children glaring at them angrily and couldn't stop laughing coldly. Ha ha ha, open the gate, or else I'll torture them to death. I'll let you watch these pitiful children die tragically under the butcher's knife. A Black Tiger Guard stood on the head of a black tiger and laughed loudly. It was obvious that the village had already given up on the children. Otherwise, they wouldn't have closed the gate. One of the older children was about 10 years old. His large eyes were shining like a pair of black gems. At this moment, he was protecting the 3 little girls and 4 little boys behind him. He was Wuxia. If you want to kill me, then kill me. I'm a real man. If I frown, then I'll be your child. Wuxia stood under the wooden gate without panicking in the face of danger. His resolute gaze was rather manly. These words caused even Yi Qinghan to feel deep veneration. He felt that this child would definitely become a great person in the future. This child is not bad. He's quite bold, Mo Li said indifferently. Yi Qinghan nodded in agreement. With a wave of his hand, he took out a dagger and prepared to save him at the most critical moment. At this moment, the leader of the Black Tiger Guards took out a longbow. The black iron arrow could steal one's soul. He drew the bowstring and the corners of his mouth rose as he said cruelly, "Is that so? I'll fulfill your wish." Bang! "Sir, please spare my life. This little boy is young and ignorant. He speaks without thinking. Please spare me on account of my young age." Immediately after, the scene changed. Wuxia was kneeling on the ground with both hands prostrating and begging for mercy. That Yi Qinghan's efforts were wasted. He almost vomited blood and the dagger in his hand fell to the ground. Looking at Wuxia's despicable appearance, why did it feel like a divine bird? Mo Li was stunned. Looking at Wuxia's despicable appearance, he really wanted to slap himself to repent for giving such a high evaluation. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. The Black Tiger Guards suddenly burst into laughter. The Black Tiger guards were in a mess. Many people fell from the back of the black tigers. The leader didn't even know if he should shoot or put down the bow in his hand. Recommended through all channels. Today's outbreak. I hope everyone can subscribe to Genesis Chinese Network or QQ Reading with Book Coins. Daodu will be eternally grateful. Chapter 1159. For a moment, there was a burst of laughter outside the stronghold. However, Wuxia's actions were indeed hilarious. 1 second, he was making a solemn vow, and the next second, he was kneeling and begging for mercy. Oh! This is not my son. This is definitely not my son. A burly man covered his face and roared. He was so angry that he wanted to rush down and teach his son a lesson. The boys and girls behind Wuxia looked at each other. They did not know if they should kneel and beg for mercy or die rather than submit. Great hero, please spare my life. I am a rare genius with a fire attribute. I am very useful. Why don't you take me in as your little brother and raise me for a few hundred years? I will definitely be the strongest vanguard. Wuxia crawled up and grinned. Cough cough, Yi Qinghan was speechless. This guy was simply a replica of a divine bird. This little bastard, I actually misjudged you. Mo Li stood up from the bottom of the hill and said impolitely while looking down from above. The Black Tiger Guard bandits all looked over with hostility. A group of 100 men surrounded the hill. Yi Qinghan had no choice but to stand out and shake his head. The two's auras were determined, and their heroic spirit made them seem otherworldly. The villagers and Black Tiger Guards were stunned as they looked at Yi Qinghan and Mo Li. These two slaves are not bad. As long as they are trained, they can be compared to hundreds of slaves. The leader of the Black Tiger Guards was not valiant. Instead, he looked like a scholar. He wore a green robe and his eyes were filled with wisdom and calmness. He was definitely at the level of a military advisor. He could tell that Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were not ordinary with just a glance. However, he should never have placed his attention on the great demonic god in Yi Qinghan, who was even more powerful than the great demonic god. Whoosh! A large group of experts surrounded the hill and blocked Yi Qinghan and Mo Li's path. Hey, don't do it. I am a very civilized person who loves peace. I don't like fighting. Yi Qinghan quickly waved his hand. The corner of Mo Li's mouth twitched as he secretly sneered, if you were civilized, loved peace, and didn't like fighting, then the world would be peaceful. It's good that you like peace. Coincidentally, I don't like to fight either. I like obedient slaves. Bind your own hands and seal your spiritual space. I'll let you suffer less physical pain, the Black Tiger Guard said indifferently. Yi Qinghan shrugged and looked at Mo Li beside him. He raised his eyebrows and said, my friend doesn't like peace and is very violent. Are you sure you want to make things difficult for us? Mo Li groaned. He knew that Yi Qinghan would push him out. I'm not afraid of trouble. Since he likes to fight, I'll find a few people to play with him. The great leader was disdainful. He waved his hand and said to the two people beside him, Old 4, Old 5, go and clean up. All right, boss. Old 4th and Old 5th were very sturdy. They were almost 2 meters tall and weighed at least 200 kilograms. They looked like giants. The Black Tiger beneath them was even bigger, like a small hill. Boom! 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 The two Black Tigers brought Old 4 and Old 5 and rushed towards the hill. There were also many small soldiers following them. Mo Li's mood had been very bad these days. He was just about to vent when this group of people came to him. Without any hesitation, he rushed over with his spear. The killing intent of the demonic god's spear soared into the sky as it pierced through several bodies. He then lifted the bodies up and swept them across, leaving behind afterimages in the sky. Whoosh! The bodies were blasted apart by the energy. Mo Li rushed into the crowd and swept through everything in his way. Even the huge black tigers were brutally killed by him. Yi Qinghan directly sat on the top of the hill. He broke off a blade of grass and put it in his mouth. He hugged his head with both hands and leaned against a rock, admiring Mo Li's massacre in front of him. Didn't I say that my friend is very violent? It's best not to provoke him. You guys just wouldn't listen, Yi Qinghan said calmly with a blade of grass in his mouth. The 10 leaders of the Black Tiger Guard were enraged. Old 4 and Old 5 were, after all, second only to the Saint Lord. They charged towards Mo Li, the huge hammers in their hands smashing through the void. Bang! Mo Li's spear pierced through the huge hammers. Old 4's body flew backward while the trajectory of the demonic god spear in Mo Li's hand deviated and collided with the hammer in Old 5's hand. Boom! Mo Li jumped into the air and launched a series of kicks. His long legs exploded with an even more violent power and kicked Old 5 into the ground, shattering the ice and rocks. Die! Boom! Mo Li's body rose up and his spear came down like an iron rod towards Old 4. Old 4 had just stabilized himself and did not have time to dodge. He could only raise his huge hammer and smash it above his head, hoping to block the demonic god spear. Bang! The demonic god spear directly pressed down on Old 4's huge hammer, breaking his arm and smashing into his head. With a crisp sound, Old 4's head was smashed by the huge hammer, causing his brain to splatter everywhere. He knelt down and died on the spot. Shoo! Shoo! Mo Li unleashed his demonic god spear art to the extreme and rushed into the crowd. Immediately, the crowd fell into chaos. Nearly 100 people died in just a short incense stick's worth of time. Even the black tigers did not manage to escape and their corpses all fell into a pool of blood. Mo Li killed the last black tiger guard. His sharp and cold aura was like a demonic god looking down on them. His spear shattered the ice and rocks, and a deep gully appeared in front of the stronghold. It was as if the heavens were warning the remaining black tiger guards and the great leader that behind this gully was their forbidden land. The great leader's eyes shone with a cold light as he grabbed at the void. His crescent moon blade appeared in his hand, releasing a chilling aura that froze the surrounding air. Old 2nd, Old 3rd, you guys go. The great leader held the crescent moon blade and ordered the 2 beside him to kill Mo Li while he stared at Yi Qinghan. Roar! Old 2nd and Old 3rd were already at the Saint Master level and were not any weaker than the Saint Masters of the Chaos Realm's sacred grounds. The black tigers they were riding were also at the giant god level. They shattered the ice and attacked Mo Li together. Yi Qinghan chewed on the wild grass as he stared at the great leader. He slowly stood up and crossed his arms in front of his chest as he watched quietly. He was not in a hurry to make a move. The commoners in the stronghold were stunned. They did not expect that these 2 youngsters would dare to fight against the black tiger guards. Run with me. Sua Xiaomao was a smart person. When she saw that there was a chance, she led the few kids behind her and ran towards the small hill behind Yi Qinghan. Sha Sha Shu, Sua Xiaomao, Sua Feng, and the other kids ran to the rock behind Yi Qinghan and looked at Yi Qinghan with their young eyes. Yi Qinghan lowered his head and looked at the 8 kids who were only 6 or 7 years old on average. The corner of his mouth twitched. He then looked at the smart Sua Xiaomao and snorted. Uncle, you are more powerful than that person, right? Protect us. I have a rare fire spiritual space. I can be your lackey in the future. Sua Xiaomao pointed at Mo Li and said flatteringly. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up slightly as he said disdainfully, I already have the divine bird. I don't need you. It's all right. A bird is a bird. I am a genuine human. I am the best at loyalty. Sua Xiaomao said solemnly. Yi Qinghan curled his lips. If this guy was loyal, then the divine bird could be trusted. Not interested. Yi Qinghan flatly rejected. Sui Xiaomua's eyes were a little disappointed. However, she clenched her fists and said, "Then you protect my brothers and sisters. I will protect you. I am a hero who is not afraid of evil." Boom! Sui Xiaomua's aura exploded. She looked quite manly as a metal rod appeared in her hand. She held it with both hands and it actually lengthened automatically. With a gentle pull, it turned into two curved blades again. "I will block these black tiger guards. You take them and run. I will cover you." Sui Xiaomua turned her head to look at Yi Qinghan and said firmly. Yi Qinghan sneered in his heart. However, he did not show any emotion on his face. He softly said, "Oh." Then he pulled the kids and was about to leave. Plop. Sui Xiaomua went limp on the spot. She turned around and knelt in front of Yi Qinghan and begged, "Hero, I can tell that you are an unparalleled hero and a super expert. Please don't tease me. I am just a weak child. How can I be a match for the Black Tiger Guards?" Chapter 1160. Sui Xiaomua's face was filled with despair as she knelt in front of Yi Qinghan and hugged Yi Qinghan. "Hero! Save me! I don't want to die at such a young age." Sui Xiaomua wailed, but there were no tears. Yi Qinghan smirked as he looked down at Sui Xiaomua who was hugging his thigh. "I'm not familiar with you, so I'm not interested in teasing you. My name is Sui Xiaomua, Sui Yunzhai's fire element genius. People call me Sui Xiaomua, the one who searches the clouds to catch the sun and the moon, the one who goes down to the sea to catch dragons and kunpeng. Let's get to know each other." Sui Xiaomua said seriously as she hugged Yi Qinghan's thigh and stared at him with her big watery eyes. Yi Qinghan covered his head with his hands. He suddenly felt that she was a divine bird in human form. She was so despicable. "I'm a demon who kills without spilling blood. I'm crueler than the Black Tiger Guards. Are you sure you want to get to know me?" Yi Qinghan asked coldly as he looked up at the sky. "Hero, you look like a good person. You're chivalrous, loyal, and courageous. You're definitely a hero. I don't believe you're a demon." Sui Xiaomua stared at Yi Qinghan with her bright eyes. There was a hint of fear in her eyes, but she quickly covered it up. She then signaled the children with her eyes. "Hero, please help us. We'll repay you when we grow up." After being reminded by Sui Xiaomua, the little ones tugged at the corners of Yi Qinghan's golden robe and looked at him expectantly. Their innocent eyes seemed to be able to speak. "Hero, please do us a favor. We're so cute. How cruel would it be if we were killed? Hero, do you need a sword, boy? Do you think I can do it?" The 7 little fellows chattered incessantly. None of them were serious dolls. One is marked by the company one keeps. They had all been contaminated by Sui Xiaomua. Yi Qinghan bent down and pried Sui Xiaomua's arm away, then dodged to the side. Seeing the Black Tiger Guard's big boss staring at him, he couldn't help but put on a fake smile and look at him coldly. On the other side, Mo Li displayed the might of the great demonic god, forcing the 2 sacred master rank leaders to retreat. These Black Tiger Guards' battle prowess was indeed at the sacred master rank. However, their secret techniques were also at the sacred master rank. They were completely different from the sacred masters of the primal chaos world. For example, Wu Ye's secret technique was the supreme sacred scripture, and his realm was at the sacred master rank. However, his battle prowess was far above the sacred master rank. This was also the reason why Mo Li could kill so many people. Boom! Mo Li's spear pierced through the defense of the second leader of the Black Tiger Guards and pierced his chest. Demonic godly power poured out, shattering his body and destroying his spiritual space. A Saint Lord was crippled even if he didn't die. The Black Tiger Guard's great commander was infuriated, and he shouted at his subordinates, "Kill them. Kill any one of them, and you can replace the second commander, fourth commander, and fifth commander's positions. You can obtain a Holy Lord level secret technique." As soon as the great commander finished speaking, he took the lead and attacked Yi Qing Han with his mystic moon scimitar. Hua hua hua. The space shattered as the great commander moved as fast as lightning. His green robes were cold, and his aura was ferocious. Sigh. Why do you have to force a civilized person like me to make a move? Yi Qing Han sighed softly. With a twist of his feet, the slope collapsed, and he violently jumped into the air. He swept up half of the heaven's might and fiercely attacked the great commander. Boom. The mystic moon scimitar was indeed sharp, and the great commander was indeed powerful. With his godly power pouring out, if he used a secret technique of the same level, he would definitely be able to kill the sacred masters of the primal chaos world in an instant. However, he should not have fought Yi Qing Han head-on. He thought that he could break Yi Qing Han's control with one slash. When they collided, the mystic moon scimitar's trembling speed exceeded its limit and directly shattered the great commander's hand. Bang! The great commander seemed to have suffered a heavy blow, and his body was blasted backward like a cannonball. Yi Qing Han was incomparably powerful, and he raised his leg to stomp on the great commander. Boom boom boom. The sky kept collapsing, and the icy blade aura attached to the great commander was almost frozen to pieces. Yi Qing Han withdrew the great commander and stepped on the great commander's chest, stomping him to the ground. Bang bang bang. Yi Qing Han grabbed the great commander's throat, and his iron fists rained down like raindrops, causing the great commander to be stunned on the spot. Boom. Buzz. Yi Qing Han elbowed the great commander's temple, and the great commander's head buzzed. His soul immediately fell into a state of darkness. I am usually a very civilized person. If you force me to make a move, you will have to pay the price. Yi Qing Han pulled his body back, and his iron fists rushed out from behind, landing right on the great commander's chest. The great commander's body armor immediately shattered, and his internal organs were shattered. All the blood cells in his body exploded, and his back bulged out. His eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Hua, the great commander's body went limp, and he did not even have the chance to use his advantage before dying under Yi Qing Han's fists. Swish. Yi Qing Han rushed into the Black Tiger Guards, and with each punch, the Black Tiger Guards were sent flying. Once the Black Tiger Guards were caught by Yi Qing Han, they would definitely die on the spot. There were less than 1,000 Black Tiger Guards, and more than 100 of them had already been killed by Mo Li. Now, the two of them worked together and rampaged through the crowd, killing anyone they saw. Zhou Yunzhai, Zhou Xiaomao, and the other kids were dumbfounded. He is indeed a demon. He is even more brutal than the Black Tiger Guards. Oh my God. Swish. Zhou Xiaomao muttered, pulled the little girl beside her, and shouted, "Quick, run with me." Swish swish swish. The 8 kids ran back to Zhou Yunzhai's giant gate, following the original path. After killing for an entire hour, there were less than 200 Black Tiger Guards left. Even the Black Tiger Guards had been killed. The Black Tiger Guards' legs went limp, and when they saw the drop of bones, they wanted to vomit. Run! Demon! Someone shouted, and the remaining Black Tiger Guards turned and ran, not even daring to look back. If you don't remove the roots, there will be trouble in the future. Don't leave a single one alive. Yi Qing Han's eyes flashed coldly, and his body shot out like a divine arrow, punching one Black Tiger Guard after another. His fists were imbued with ice spiritual substance and a large amount of desolate divine power. When it entered their bodies, it would definitely crush their souls and vitality. Puchi. Demon! The Black Tiger Guards screamed and fled, not even bothering with the slaves. Unfortunately, their speed was not as fast as Yi Qing Han and Mo Li's, and the difference was huge. More than half of the 200 Black Tiger Guards were quickly eliminated. Boom! Hero, please spare us. Lord, please spare us. We have elders and children to take care of. Please spare us this time. I was blind to not recognize Tan Mountain. Please spare us, Lord. I won't dare to do it again. There were still a few dozen black tiger guards left. Their cultivation levels were decent, and most of them were at the Lord God level. At this moment, they were extremely terrified, and they did not even dare to raise their heads. They kept kowtowing and begging for mercy. Yi Qinghan and Mo Li looked at each other. They seemed to know what the other was thinking, so they did not attack again. Get up. Follow us in the future, and I guarantee that you will live a good life, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Chapter 1161. The group of slaves and female slaves had all been snatched from the stronghold outside. At this moment, they were watching in horror as Yi Qinghan and Mo Li tried to subdue the black tiger guards who had committed all sorts of crimes. Their bodies were trembling. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and broke the iron chains that bound the villagers. With a deep voice, he said, "You can all leave now. Thank you for saving our lives. Thank you, lords. This little girl is extremely grateful and has no way to repay you." The dozens of villagers were extremely respectful as they were afraid of offending Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and said, "You can all leave now. It's nothing." Only then did everyone leave. Zuiyan's stronghold did not dare to open the gate for a long time. A few children's faces were green with fright, especially the girls. They had never seen such a bloody scene before. If it wasn't for Zhuo Xiaomao protecting them, they would have fainted from fright. Great hero, you're so powerful. Zhuo Xiaomao said flatteringly. Little brat, don't be so despicable. Otherwise, I'll break your legs. Mo Li said angrily. Zhuo Xiaomao was so frightened that she did not dare to speak. She peeked at Yi Qinghan and Mo Li with her pitiful eyes. Forget it. Let's go. We'll go directly to the Black Tiger Guard's headquarters and occupy a place to discuss further. Perhaps it was because of the divine bird, Yi Qinghan did not dislike Zhuo Xiaomao. Instead, he felt an inexplicable sense of closeness. Great hero, do you want to go in and have a cup of tea? Zhuo Xiaomao smiled. Sure, ask your parents to open the gate. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows as if he was teasing the little brat. Zhuo Xiaomao's face instantly turned bitter. Zuiyan's stronghold had not opened the gate until now. It was obvious that they did not trust Yi Qinghan and Mo Li who had appeared out of nowhere. The Black Tiger Guards were no match for Yi Qinghan and Mo Li, who had slaughtered more than 1,000 people in just a little more than 2 hours. If they were to charge into Zuiyan's stronghold, they would probably be wiped out in less than 2 hours. Maybe next time. Hahaha, we've all been busy lately. Next time, I'll treat you alone. Goodbye, hero. Zhuo Xiaomao waved her hand, her young face blushing slightly. She did not expect Yi Qinghan to agree to stay for tea. Yi Qinghan sneered. He stood on a black tiger and looked down at the remaining Black Tiger Guards. He coldly said, "Clean up the battlefield and take away all the resources. Then, bring us to the Black Tiger Stockade." Yes. Yes. The Black Tiger Guard hurriedly nodded and replied. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and said, "From now on, call me Great Leader and him Second Leader." Yi Qinghan quickly adapted to this place and became the king of the mountain. Mo Li curled his lips and thought to himself, "This Yi Qinghan is too powerful. He silently suppressed me and did not give me a chance to refute." The dignified descendant of the great demonic god has become the second leader in just one world. Soon after, the Black Tiger Guards cleaned up the battlefield and took all the yin and yang rings. They packed them up and sent them to Yi Qinghan. Yes, Great Leader, Second Leader. Please follow us. The captain of the Black Tiger Guards did not understand Yi Qinghan and Emoli. He did not even dare to use a flattering tone and was extremely respectful. Boom! 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 50 to 60 people rode on a dozen huge black tigers and rushed into the distance. Yi Qinghan and Emoli followed closely behind, slowly following behind the Black Tiger Guards. Along the way, they encountered several tribes with their gates locked. One of them had been completely destroyed. Flames soared into the sky and blood flowed like a river. The group of slaves and women from before were still crying in the village. Clearly, they were from this village. Yi Qinghan looked at the village and the group of strong young men. Their cultivation was not bad and they were at least high gods. However, in this world, they were nothing. They did not even dare to fly more than 10 meters. Now that the village was in ruins and the tribesmen were all dead, this group of people would not be able to survive for long. Yi Qinghan arrived in front of the crowd. In any case, there were more than 20 lives. The new power said, 99% of the Black Tiger Guards are dead. The remaining people's cultivation is not that great. They have died once and can be considered as avenging you. If you don't mind, you can join the Black Tiger Stronghold and change your name to Frost Demon Stronghold. The group of villagers glared at the remaining Black Tiger Guards. If it were not for their lack of strength, they would have definitely rushed up and annihilated them. I want to kill them and avenge my parents. A young girl pulled out a sharp sword and charged towards the Black Tiger Guards. The Black Tiger Guards looked at Yi Qinghan and did not dare to dodge. They could only let her hack and slash. Although her strength was not great, the sword slashes were sharp enough to injure these people. Immediately, blood splattered everywhere and their heads were bleeding. Yi Qinghan looked on calmly and allowed her to hack and slash. Seeing that the other villagers were also angry, he said, "Revenge is revenge. They have already died once. They don't care if you kill them again." The Black Tiger Guards immediately panicked and looked nervously at Yi Qinghan. "Atone for your sins. If they kill you today, you are not allowed to dodge or resist. If you dare to resist, I will be the one to kill you," Yi Qinghan said coldly. The Black Tiger Guards did not dare to resist. They could only release some spiritual essence to protect their lifelines. They hoped that this group of young people would be exhausted and escape death. Kill them and avenge the villagers. Boom! Boom! Swoosh! 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 More than 20 villagers rushed into the village and pulled out their sharp swords. They all charged towards the Black Tiger Guards and wildly hacked at them. A few of the Black Tigers were killed, but the Black Tiger Guards did not dare to resist. Yi Qinghan and Emoli coldly watched from the side. If they died after this, their hatred would disappear. If they did not die, it would also disappear. If he wanted to establish himself here, he would need the help of some locals. However, these locals could not have any hatred, or else they would be like a sheet of loose sand. Soon, a large number of Black Tiger Guards were hacked to death. A few of them wanted to retaliate, but their souls were pierced by Yi Qinghan's finger and died on the spot. After hacking for more than 2 hours, more than 30 Black Tiger Guards had been hacked to death. However, only 20 or so of them remained. However, the villagers were so tired that they were gasping for breath and could no longer hack. The remaining group of Black Tiger Guards with decent cultivations could not help but let out a breath of turbid air. They knew that they had dodged a calamity. Yi Qinghan looked at the villagers who were paralyzed on the ground and calmly said, "Since you finished hacking, the hatred between you should also disappear. More than 1,000 Black Tiger Guards have died, and now there are less than 30 people left. Any hatred should also disappear. Can you all stop hating each other?" His gaze contained a firm will. As long as this group of villagers still dared to refuse to let go, he would not help them anymore. He did not want to destroy the foundation of his first force in the Snow Empire and the God Realm because of personal hatred. The villagers looked at Yi Qinghan's cold gaze and did not dare to push their luck. After hacking so many people to death and being so tired, it was time to let go of the hatred in their hearts. Yi Qinghan looked at the Black Tiger Guards and coldly asked, "Do you all hate each other?" "We don't dare." "Absolutely not. We were wrong in the past. However, our team didn't massacre this village. It was all done by other teams. Big leader, I swear to the heavens, I swear to the Divine Master that we really didn't massacre the villagers here," the Black Tiger Guard captain quickly said. Chapter 1162. The Divine Master, who was also the Realm Master of the Snow Nation, swore in his name. It was a supreme oath, even more terrifying than an oath to the heavenly Tao. No one dared to make such an oath. The villagers seemed to understand as well, but their hatred was transferred to them. Looking at the Black Tiger Guards, their hostility gradually dissipated. "If you have any grievances in the future, feel free to tell me. If you did it, then you did it. If you didn't, then I won't let you suffer. This matter ends here. Now, go to the Black Tiger Stockade and take over everything," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Finally, the hatred between the two sides was settled. The initial Winter Demon Stockade was formed, and the number of people returned to 50 or 60. The group quickly rushed to the outskirts of the Black Tiger Stockade. There were mountains and valleys, and the spiritual energy was oppressive. All kinds of spiritual attributes jumped around like fairies, merging with each other, but also opposing each other. Screeched. Spiritual beasts galloped, and birds cried, echoing in the valley. The huge Black Tiger Stockade still had quite a few people left behind to guard it. When Yi Qinghan and Li Qiye led the Black Tiger Guards into the mountains, they were intercepted. Many of the experts in the stockade were slaughtered, and even the banners were changed. "Great leader, the Black Tiger Stockade has many mines, and they are all being excavated. They also have many industries in the city amongst the clouds. We only know the address, but we don't know how to take over," the Black Tiger Guard captain respectfully reminded. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. The procedures were complicated. Why did they have to take over bit by bit? They could just snatch it. As for the mines, they had to be handed over to their own people to control. Release all the slaves, and arrange their salaries for the past few years. If they want to stay in the mines, pay them on the same day. Try to keep them. Also, improve their meals to twice that of normal villagers. Every 10 days of rest, build houses for them, and treat them like humans, not slaves. Yi Qinghan gave orders one by one, and finally decided, kill all the absentee guards. Kill them in front of everyone. Let the slaves abandon their hatred and give them hope. Change your clothes. From today onwards, the Black Tiger Stockade no longer exists. It will be called the Winter Demon Stockade. You are the initial members of the Winter Demon Stockade. Do it well, and you will benefit in the future. "Great leader, we can't beat those guards," the captain said helplessly. "Find your second leader. He's the best at killing people," Yi Qinghan said calmly. In the distance, the corner of Mo Li's mouth twitched. Ever since he arrived in this realm, he had been suppressed by Yi Qinghan. But now, he had become Yi Qinghan's subordinate and was specifically helping him kill people. However, they had just entered this place and did not know anything. If they wanted to return, they would probably have to rely on Yi Qinghan. They could only follow the team leader to the various mines. With Mo Li taking action, he killed his way to the end. Blood flowed like a river, frightening the slaves. Finally, it was announced that the Black Tiger stronghold had been destroyed. The Winter Demon stronghold wanted to free the slaves and compensate them for their wages over the past few years. They also wanted to pay the slaves to continue digging, help them build houses, and provide them with protection. They also wanted to take shifts every 10 days. Their living expenses were double that of ordinary villagers. How could these slaves leave? They were all in high spirits and chose to stay. Yi Qinghan sat in the study of the former great leader of the Black Tiger stronghold, looking for the certificates of some properties. However, he found the certificates of all the properties in a mezzanine. Upon closer inspection, there were actually quite a lot of properties. Compared to the sacred grounds, they were only lacking the sacred scripture and foundation. The other resources were far more abundant than one or two sacred grounds. Just the rare minerals alone, such as iron ores, mysterious crystal divine iron, and a series of supreme divine herb gardens, were innumerable. It was no wonder there were so many experts here. Spiritual god stones could increase one's ability to sense spiritual essence by 10 times or even 100 times. This was determined by the quality of the spiritual god stone. This kind of spiritual god stone was the common currency of the Snow Empire and the Immortal Realm. It was divided into 5 grades, and the exchange rate for each grade was 1 to 100. Earth, heaven, mysterious, moon, and snow. 5 grades. And this Black Tiger stronghold actually had a heaven-grade spiritual god stone mine. They had already excavated thousands of spiritual god stones, and could be considered a very good mine. Originally, the great leader of the Black Tiger stronghold wanted to sell it, but unexpectedly, it was destroyed before he could sell it. This benefited Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan quickly flipped through the books and certificates of property in the study. He was prepared to accept all of them and nurture a group of experts. After sorting out all the shops with property rights, Yi Qinghan did not immediately take the certificates of property rights to the city amongst the clouds to accept them. Instead, he was prepared to nurture a group of trusted subordinates and replace all the shop owners in the city with his own people. There were more than 20 villagers, 10 men and 12 women. They were all very young and would not be able to take on great responsibilities. At this moment, they were all waiting in the meeting hall of the Demon Cloud stronghold, waiting for the summons. Yi Qinghan walked over gracefully and looked at these people. To be able to be captured by the Black Tiger stronghold as slaves, their cultivation was not bad. The village women were captured naturally because of their good looks. After thinking for a moment, Yi Qinghan asked these people, "Introduce yourselves and tell me what you are good at. I will arrange a position for you. Now that the Frost Demon stronghold has many things to do, I need some capable people. I hope you can help me." "Great leader, my name is Yu Yang. I am a hunter of the Yu clan stronghold. I have a gold spiritual body, and I have some knowledge in mining." The oldest-looking young man quickly stood up and replied respectfully. "Oh. That is a good spiritual body." Yi Qinghan nodded and continued to look at the others. "Great leader, my name is Yu Zilong. I have an ice spiritual body. I am best at fighting." Another young man stood up and introduced himself. However, when it came to fighting, his voice was much softer. In front of a god of war like Yi Qinghan, who would dare to say that they were good at fighting? Yi Qinghan continued to nod and looked at the group of people introducing themselves. Very quickly, the group of people all spoke of their areas of expertise. There was a pretty girl who was useful, and that was her communication skills. "You are Yu. I have a task for you. The Frost Demon stronghold, which was previously the territory of the Black Tiger stronghold, has a radius of 10,000 miles. There are about 10,000 villages and tribes, and 3,000 family clans. My Frost Demon stronghold now needs a large number of talented young disciples. I can establish a college to groom them personally. It will be called Ares College. You will be in charge of spreading the news and informing all the family clans and tribes in the territory that Ares College will be established in a month. We will recruit the first batch of disciples. Any disciple from the village who can enter Ares College will be under the protection of Ares College." Yi Qinghan looked at the little beauty in front of him and said calmly. "Yes. Great leader. Yu Yu stood beside Yi Qinghan excitedly. It was as if being able to serve him was a great honor. They were weak, and if they were useless, they would feel uncomfortable. Remember, you have to remember the current principles of the Frost Demon Stronghold. We will never bully the common people. We are a college, an organization that teaches young talents. We are righteous people who protect the territory, and not the Black Tiger Stronghold that relies on plundering to survive, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Yes, great leader. Yu Yu will definitely complete the task. Yu Yu's face was red as she vowed. Yu Zilong, Yu Zihu, the two of you will be in charge of protecting Miss Yu Yu's safety. You must ensure that all the villages and family clans are notified within a month. If you encounter any danger, crush this message amulet and I will know your location. Hold on for 10 breaths, and I will be able to reach you within 10,000 miles. You can set off now. Yi Qinghan took out a message amulet and placed it in Yu Yu's hand. The three of them received the order and immediately led a black tiger towards the various large villages. Chapter 1163. Yi Qinghan arranged for the rest of the people to build Ares College and gave them a sketch of the building. However, there were too few of them, so he gave them some resources and asked them to recruit people from nearby tribes. After everything was settled, Yi Qinghan went to Zhuiyun village alone. There were still people standing guard at Zhuiyun village. When they saw Yi Qinghan slowly approaching, they quickly sounded the alarm. A large number of villagers looked at Yi Qinghan from afar and were stunned. With Yi Qinghan's speed, they would be caught before they could return to the village. Xiaoma's legs were shaking as if she was afraid of Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan arrived at Zhuiyun village's training field. He looked at the group of young children who were trying to understand their spiritual qualities with a smile on his face. He did not look like the demon who had killed more than 1,000 black tiger guards in the morning. Good afternoon, great hero. Xiaoma was the first to greet him. Everyone else was stunned. Yes, I'm not here to drink tea. I'm here to ask for help from someone with management skills. I want to take over all the shops of the Black Tiger Guards in Yunzhong City, but I don't have anyone I can trust. I hope that someone with management skills can help me. I'll be responsible for the safety of your village and will pay the person who helps me. Yi Qinghan first made fun of them, then explained his intentions. A holy master-level clan elder from Zhuiyun village walked out. He was extremely respectful and did not dare to have the slightest disrespect. Sir, you're too polite. You killed the evil Black Tiger Guards. If you really need help, Zhuiyun village will definitely help you. The clan elder quickly replied. Yi Qinghan nodded. It would be best if the people of Zhuiyun village could cooperate. He then told the clan elder about the establishment of Ares College. Xiaoma's eyes lit up. She hoped to be nurtured by Ares College. In the end, Yi Qinghan took away 14 middle-aged men from the left cloud village. They often went in and out of the city amongst the clouds to buy and sell resources. They were quite knowledgeable about business. The city amongst the clouds was the largest city within a radius of tens of millions of miles. The city lord was an over-god, and the city was divided into 100 counties. The Black Tiger Stockade was one of the powers in the Black Sky County. Although it was a bandit stockade, it was under the protection of the county governor. Every month, the Black Tiger Stockade had to offer a large amount of resources to the Black Sky County. Therefore, the county governor did not care about the lives of the commoners, as long as the Black Tiger Stockade did not massacre every single one of them. Yi Qinghan had done a thorough investigation of the magistrate, and found that he was stronger than he was. He was a peak giant god, and was even stronger than the second-generation sorcerer god and the divine python flood dragon. He was half a step into the paramount god level, and could summon the power of heaven and earth to unleash the might of paramount gods. On the way to the city amongst the clouds, Yi Qinghan was considering whether or not he should join forces with Devil Li to eliminate the magistrate, and then report directly to the city lord. After entering the Black Sky County, they entered the city amongst the clouds through the gate. The city was vast, and towered into the clouds. It was several times larger and more prosperous than a Holy Land's ancestral land. The majestic aura of a true dragon showed the difference between a paramount god and a giant god. The spiritual essence in the city was especially lively, and it was almost within reach. The giant gods were guarding the outside of the city, but they did not stop the commoners from entering. Yi Qinghan led the left cloud villagers into the city amongst the clouds. According to the address on the certificate, Yi Qinghan began to take over the storefronts one by one. The first storefront was the Black Tiger Miscellaneous Store, which specialized in raw resources such as divine medicines, profound meteorites, divine iron ores, rare divine woods, savage beasts, and beast hides. The annual profit was not bad, and it was worth at least tens of thousands of heaven-grade spiritual godstones. The shopkeeper was an old man with eyes full of wisdom. He was dressed in green, and his hair was white, but he was full of vigor. He treated people very kindly, and there were 2 servants standing beside him. Yi Qinghan stepped into the store. Although it was not big, it was orderly and comfortable. "What do you want to buy?" "My store has everything you need, and the price is fair." "I don't cheat anyone," the shopkeeper said with a smile. Yi Qinghan looked around briefly and went straight to the point. After the servants left, he revealed his identity and said calmly, "The Black Tiger Stockade has been destroyed by me, and all of its assets will be taken over by me. If you want to continue working in the store, you have to be loyal to me, not the Black Tiger Stockade." The old man was stunned. He did not expect the powerful Black Tiger Stockade to be destroyed, and even the certificate of ownership of the store was in Yi Qinghan's hands. It was obviously true. I am only helping to run the store and earn a living to feed my family. Please give me a chance, sir. I'm willing to assist you in changing the certificate of ownership and transfer the store to your name," the old man said immediately. "How much is your monthly salary?" Yi Qinghan looked down at the old man and asked coldly. 10 earth-rank spiritual spirit stones a month. The old man's cultivation base was not high. He was only a half-step lord level, but he was quite talented in business. The store earned close to 1,000 earth-rank spiritual stones a month at least. "Your salary will be doubled in the future, and you'll have 20 earth-rank spiritual spirit stones. Now, bring the certificate of ownership to the Chamber of Commerce in Cloud City to change the certificate of ownership and put it under my name. I'm Yi Qinghan, the current leader of the Frost Demon Stockade." Yi Qinghan gestured for a middle-aged man from Zuiyin village to follow the old man to the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce was an organization directly managed by the city governor of Cloud City, and they were in charge of managing the stores in the city. The stores had to pay a fixed amount of protection fees every year. The Chamber of Commerce protected their interests in the city, and they were the ones who issued the certificate of ownership. The old man quickly led the middle-aged man from Zuiyin village to the Chamber of Commerce. Yi Qinghan left another villager to look after the store while he led the others to the other stores. There were no obstacles in taking over 7 stores in a row. There were only 10 stores in total. However, when it came to the 8th store, he was actually rejected. The store owner did not acknowledge Yi Qinghan's legal identity at all. Moreover, he demanded Yi Qinghan to hand over the certificate of ownership. Clearly, he wanted to take over the store. Yi Qinghan smiled evilly as he looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. The middle-aged man had a treacherous look on his face. It was as though he was certain that there was no one in the city and that he could take over the store by force. This store was indeed pretty good. The man's name was Cui Gung, and he was quite skilled in business. He was a pawnshop that specialized in purchasing ancient divine objects. His unique vision allowed him to earn a lot of money, and he would often be able to purchase rare treasures. However, he was too clever. He earned several tens of thousands of mystic rank divine stones every year, but he only sent less than 10,000 to the Black Tiger Stockade. Did you know? More than 1,000 Black Tiger guards from the Black Tiger Stockade, along with their leader, were all killed by me in 2 hours. Are you tired of living trying to negotiate with me? The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth rose as he asked coldly. This is Cloud City. I know all the Divine Guard commanders here. Since you are not from the Black Tiger Stockade, and the Black Tiger Stockade has been eliminated, this store is mine. Leave the certificate of ownership behind and scram. Perhaps I will not make things difficult for you, said Cui Gong in an eerie tone. Chapter 1164. Swish. Yi Qinghan smiled coldly and reached out to grab Cui Gong's neck. He smiled and said indifferently, it's useless even if you know the city lord and the supreme god. If I want to crush you to death, I can do it with a wave of my hand. If you want to live, you better work for me from today onwards. If you dare to have any disloyalty, I will place a restriction in your sea of consciousness and let you know what despair is. Swish. A strand of golden light rushed into Cui Gong's head and entrenched itself in his soul. It was impossible to refine it. Cui Gong's face was ashen as he looked at Yi Qinghan furiously. Looking at those terrifying eyes, he finally panicked and slowly lowered his head. In the future, you will be the second in command of the pawn shop and assist Mr. Zhuo Lenk in managing the Divine Treasure pawn shop. If your performance is good, I will spare you. Otherwise, I will let you die without a burial ground. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. Yes. Yes, great leader. Cui Gong no longer had any arrogance. This kind of wretch had to be violent. Otherwise, he wouldn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Yi Qinghan smiled coldly and took out the certificate of ownership of the Divine Treasure pawn shop. He handed it to Zhuo Lenk and said calmly, take it to the Merchant Association to change the owner's name. Write my name. Yes, great leader. Zhuo Lenk quickly took it. Cui Gong followed and didn't dare to go against Yi Qinghan's will. With its certificate, changing the certificate of ownership would be much easier. With Cui Gong as an example, Yi Qinghan began to forcefully take over the assets and took away 70% of the spiritual stones in the storefront. He only left the most basic spiritual stones for circulation. Cui Gong had embezzled at least 300,000 heaven-ranked spiritual stones. Yi Qinghan took away 90% and only left him a few tens of thousands of heaven-ranked spiritual stones. After this round of plundering, he obtained a total of 3,000 mystic-ranked spiritual stones, 250,000 heaven-ranked spiritual stones, and 400,000 low-ranked spiritual stones. Cui Gong's face turned green. 90% of his life savings had been taken away by Yi Qinghan. There was no chance for him to embezzle anything in the future, because he was no longer the manager. He still couldn't betray them. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan could kill him with just a thought. With money to pave the way, the name on the proof of assets was quickly changed. Without any difficulties, Yi Qinghan really took over these assets. Although it was not much, it was enough to sustain Aries College. Yi Qinghan arranged for all the villagers from Zuiyin village to enter the shop. On one hand, they could learn how to do business. On the other hand, they could supervise these people. The salary was quite high, so they were naturally willing to stay. After that, Yi Qinghan gathered all the shop owners of the big shops and some of the smaller shops. He promised them some benefits and asked them to help Frost Demon Stronghold run their shops without worries. He also asked them to share the profits with everyone. This way, all the shop owners would work harder to run their shops. After everything was settled, Yi Qinghan gave each shopkeeper a message talisman so that they could contact him at any time. Then, he left the city amongst the clouds alone. He paid 10 Earth-tier spirit stones to teleport to Black Sky County, and entered the Frost Demon Stronghold's territory. As soon as he entered the Black Tiger Mountains, he encountered a few strangers, all of whom had powerful cultivation bases. Judging from their attire, they seemed to be subordinates of the prefectural magistrate of Black Heaven County. They were Titan gods, and all of them were haughty and arrogant. "You are the current leader of Black Tiger Mountain," Yi Qinghan, the leader, a middle-aged man, asked coldly. Yi Qinghan nodded indifferently and snorted through his nose. "I don't care who is in control of Black Tiger Mountain, but our county governor has said that our benefits cannot be reduced. Furthermore, the new faction will have to pay 30% more. This year, we have to hand over 30,000 heaven-ranked spiritual stones, 300 beauties, and 30 supreme treasures in divine herbs." The middle-aged man said coldly. "Blackmail me?" Yi Qinghan sneered to himself. However, he did not look angry on the surface. He pursed his lips, but there was a smile in his eyes. He said indifferently, "No problem. In 3 days, I will bring all the resources to pay a visit to the county governor." That's right. The county governor likes people who know what's good for them. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at Yi Qinghan. He rubbed his fingers together as if he was asking for benefits. Yi Qinghan sneered inwardly. He casually took out nearly 300 heaven-ranked spiritual stones and gave them to the middle-aged man. He pretended to be respectful and said, "This is some money for tea for our brothers. There will be more in the future. I hope that you will help us a little." "Ha ha ha, Leader Yi is too polite. Then I will kindly accept it. After all, I am tired from the journey and need some tea to relieve my fatigue." The middle-aged man took the spiritual stones and immediately smiled. He no longer had the cold expression on his face. "Since you are tired, why don't you enter the stronghold to rest? I will serve you good tea and treat you to a feast." Yi Qinghan's brows twitched as he thought of a plan. He extended his hand and led the 4 giant gods up the mountain. Yi Qinghan took out a large amount of spiritual wine from the Great Wastelands Monument. These were all of the best quality. Those who loved wine would definitely like it. This was especially true for these giant gods. How could they not have wine when they were seeking pleasure? Yi Qinghan got all 4 of them drunk. As he drank, he inquired about the number of experts in Black Sky County and their deployment. He also asked about the county governor's current cultivation level and where he was, as well as the relationship between the county governor and the city lord. Indeed, hard work paid off. After drinking to his heart's content, the leader of the group began to grumble. "Motherfucker, only our county governor doesn't know how to do things. He actually offended the 3rd young master of the city lord's residence and caused us brothers to have to look at him when we enter the city. Now, the county governor is thinking of how to curry favor with the 3rd young master." The leader was a little angry. It seemed that the county governor had prevented him from entering the city to enjoy life. Yi Qinghan laughed. However, he had a plan in his mind. Since the county governor and the city lord's 3rd young master had a conflict, then he would get rid of the county governor and replace him. He would also offer some benefits to the 3rd young master. Presumably, the city lord's residence would not make things difficult for him. That's right. The county governor is too stingy. He doesn't treat us as humans all day long. He orders us to exchange for things. If it wasn't for a tactful person like Chief Yi, we wouldn't even have the resources to cultivate, let alone the money to drink a cup of tea in the city. Another drunk leader grumbled. Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to ask, "Oh. It seems that the county governor doesn't treat you well. You don't seem to like him very much. It's not just us who don't like him. Even the great commanders in the county don't like him. If he wasn't so strong, who would be willing to stay here and be ordered around by him?" The leader of the group said disdainfully. Yi Qinghan was even more relieved now. He decided to assassinate the county governor and secretly control the 2 great commanders of the Black Sky Guards in Black Sky County. Perhaps controlling Black Sky County wouldn't be a difficult task. Everyone has finished drinking. Do you feel weak in your limbs and want to rest? Yi Qinghan's expression changed as he asked with an evil smile. What do you mean? Plop. The four of them had a change in expression. They struggled to stand up, but before they could, they fell to the ground. They didn't have any strength left in their bodies. Their spiritual space was sealed, so there was no way they could control their spiritual power. Shoo! 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 Yi Qinghan flicked his finger and placed a restriction on the four of them. He smiled and said, I like smart people. I also like people who are tactful. The four of you have pretty good cultivation. Follow me and Black Sky County will be under your control. The four of them had a drastic change in expression. They looked at Yi Qinghan with panic in their eyes. What do you want us to do? The leader of the group asked in shock. Ask the two great commanders of the Black Sky Guards to come out. But don't alert the county governor. Don't worry, I won't kill them. I will only control them. My final goal is naturally to eliminate the county governor and replace him. Yi Qinghan said calmly. Chapter 1165. Inviting the two great commanders of the Black Sky Divine Guards. The four of them felt their limbs go cold. Once Yi Qinghan failed, the two great commanders would beat them to death and even implicate their clansmen. Great leader, please don't do this to us. The two great commanders are almost as strong as the prefectural governor. You can't control them alone. Once you fail, the prefectural governor will be furious and we will have to bear the consequences. Xiao Wei, who was the leader, pleaded bitterly. Yes, great leader. The two great commanders are too strong. You will get yourself into trouble if you do this. The remaining three people immediately sobered up and tried to persuade Yi Qinghan. Both Jiulong and Wang Junfeng go there almost every month. They both have an old lover there. One of them is from the Fox clan, while the other is from the Snake clan. Both of them are demons in human form. Their figures, TSK, they are indeed good. If it were me, I would also be impulsive. The two great commanders would naturally be bewitched. When you go back, tell them directly that the Demon Cloud Citadel is looking for a backer and would like to invite the two great commanders to a meal at the Fragrance Pavilion. They are familiar with the place and won't be afraid. Xiao Wei was still unwilling to intervene. However, when he saw Yi Qinghan's determined eyes, he did not know what to say. There is no room for negotiation. If you can't do it well, you will die. I have no interest in being entangled with you. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. In the end, Xiao Wei and the other three had to agree to Yi Qinghan's request. They came arrogantly but left dispiritedly. Xiao Wei returned to the Black Sky City and found Jiulong and Wang Junfeng overnight. Two domain chiefs, I went to Black Tiger Mountain today and the Black Tiger Guards there were wiped out by two young men. Therefore, the prefectural governor asked me to go there and provide 30% of the offerings. They readily agreed and were very generous. They gave me 300 heaven-rank spirit stones on the spot. However, they just entered this place and are looking for a backer. They heard that the two domain chiefs are very powerful and would like to invite you to a meal in the Fragrance Pavilion to get to know you. I wonder if the two of you would be interested in doing me the honor. Xiao Wei found the two domain chiefs in the barracks and respectfully said. Fragrance Pavilion. The leader of the Winter Demon Stronghold is rather tactful. Brethren, shall we go? Wang Junfeng's brows twitched as he spoke indifferently. Then give us some face. Fragrant Pavilion. Tomorrow night, in the largest private room. You can make the arrangements, Jiulong said. Thank you, both domain chiefs. I will go back and inform him to arrange the best service for both of you and your favorite women. Xiao Wei was very excited. He had finally settled this matter. Black Tiger Mountain. Yi Qinghan received the message very quickly. He looked at the message and smiled. Since ancient times, even heroes have a weakness for beauties. Yi Qinghan stepped out of Black Tiger Mountain and found Emoli. He said in a low voice, "Tomorrow night, come to the Fragrance Pavilion outside Black Sky City on time. I will go there first and take care of the two great commanders. We will directly eliminate the prefectural governor. With Black Sky City as the base, we will strive to establish a force within 3 months. I want to reach the front lines of the Snow Empire and the God Realm as soon as possible. Then, I will talk to the Realm Lord and enter the Great Wasteland Domain to find the passage back to the Primal Chaos Realm." "Good. I am also anxious to go back. We have been missing for so long. I don't know what kind of trouble we will cause." Emoli nodded in agreement. If they could take a shortcut, they would do it even if it was dangerous. Both of them were going to take the risk to control the governor, kill the prefectural governor, and replace him. Yi Qinghan turned and left. The stars moved as he turned into a meteor and streaked across the sky. He took advantage of the night to enter the Fragrance Pavilion. Although it was almost midnight, the place was still brightly lit. There were still a large number of experts wandering around. It was not an exaggeration to say that the Fragrance Pavilion made a lot of money every day. There were top-grade female cultivators everywhere. There were beauties of all races. This place was very lively. Therefore, it could only be built outside the city to avoid disturbing the people. There were several female cultivators wearing revealing clothes wandering outside the Fragrance Pavilion, trying to attract customers. Many people did not want to go in, but after a few words, they immediately followed in. Yi Qinghan's tall and straight body emitted a heroic aura. He appeared outside the Fragrance Pavilion. His big eyes seemed to be able to see through the Fragrance Pavilion. The ladies outside the Fragrance Pavilion looked at Yi Qinghan's handsome face that was as sharp as a knife. For a moment, they did not dare to pull him into this kind of place. They felt that his temperament was otherworldly and should not be tainted by the secular world. Moreover, he should not come to this kind of place. However, Yi Qinghan walked in himself, leaving the ladies dumbfounded. What a pity. I thought that such a handsome man with such a good temperament would not come here. It turns out that he is also like this. Men are all like this. As long as we are willing to open our legs, they will be willing to come in. This is called a hero has a weakness for the charms of a beauty. Kakik, little Xian is right. However, which courtesan do you think a man like him will choose? A few young ladies were discussing in low voices. Yi Qinghan floated into the Fragrance Pavilion. He did not pay attention to the ladies outside. As soon as he entered the pavilion, the hall came to an abrupt halt. No one spoke. It was not that there was no one, but that there were too many people. Men and women of all shapes and sizes. There were at least 100 people. In addition, the people on the second and third floor were all staring at Yi Qinghan. This otherworldly man had a different charm and experience in his eyes. He was like the most dazzling star in the depths of the blue dome of heaven, stealing people's souls. When he stepped into the pavilion, many ladies held their breaths. The other men's eyes were filled with jealousy and admiration. For a moment, they did not know what to say. His golden armor fluttered without any wind. Faint frost spiritual fluctuations undulated unceasingly. A strand of black hair fluttered. His thin lips slightly curved, revealing a row of spotlessly white teeth that were particularly dazzling. Yo, where did this otherworldly little brother come from? You really bring light to my humble Fragrance Pavilion. A mature and charming brothel keeper was dressed even more revealing. Her skin was like snow, sparkling and translucent. Although she was not thin, she did not have a trace of excess fat. She was very plump and very feminine. Her face was even more enchanting. She swayed her slender waist as she walked towards Yi Qinghan. Her coquettish voice made people feel numb all over. Many men were looking at Yi Qinghan with jealousy and anger. This brothel keeper was famous for being snobbish. This kind of smile and charm were for high officials and nobles. Few relied on appearance to win this kind of charming smile. Yi Qinghan looked at the enchanting lady in front of him and smiled indifferently. It was like the warm spring sunshine. He stretched out his hand and 3 mystic spirit stones on the ground. His magnetic voice resounded. Please help me arrange a large private room and 4 guest rooms. I estimate that I will need to use it until the day after tomorrow. As for the requirements, we will discuss it in the private room. 3 mystic spirit stones were equivalent to 30,000 earth spirit stones and 3,000 heaven spirit stones. It was equivalent to half a year's harvest for a small village. The brothel keeper immediately smiled like a flower. She stretched out her jade-like hand and placed it on Yi Qinghan's shoulder. She smiled and said, "Yo, little brother seems to be a rich young master. Please follow me to the 4th floor." Chapter 1166. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Yi Qinghan was pulled up to the 4th floor by the charming brothel keeper. Yi Qinghan didn't refute and only followed silently. He wanted to know more. Maybe this kind of woman knew more than the county governor. Entering the 4th floor, there was a large private room. The room was surrounded by high and soft animal skin cushions. In the middle, there was a round table surrounded by a few chairs. The faint red light inside made people's hearts flutter and their hormones dance. A row of rubies and sapphires hung on the wall. The decoration was very luxurious. The scenery in the window was a scene of spring water and green mountains. Half of the mountain range could be seen at a glance. The stars in the sky were like a waterfall, as if the stars were within reach. Strands of starlight poured down, filling the private room. This was indeed a perfect place. The brothel keeper pushed open the door and entered. Under the moonlight, her slender legs were enchanting. Yi Qinghan glanced at her from the corner of his eyes. The corner of his mouth couldn't help but curl up as he followed her in. Yi Qinghan smiled. He walked to the window and looked at the brothel keeper, Sister Yao, and gently said, "The scenery and the beauty complement each other. The scenery and the beauty are truly breathtaking. Isn't that right, Sister Yao?" Sister Yao raised her head and looked at Yi Qinghan, charmingly saying, "Oh, it seems like you came prepared. This big sister has never seen you before, but you know my name. You even paid so many spirit stones in one go. Speak, tell me your true motive." Yi Qinghan chuckled. There was no need to beat around the bush with a woman like her. He reached out his strong arm and wrapped it around her waist, pulling her into his embrace. He looked down at her rosy lips with a devilish aura. Her personality and figure made him restless. If I didn't have a motive, why would I come here in advance? Since I'm already here, if I don't inquire about the most beautiful, most feminine, and most attractive woman in the fragrance pavilion, what else can I do? Yi Qinghan smiled. TSK, your little mouth is really sweet. I can't be considered the most beautiful woman. There are quite a few women in Fragrance Pavilion who are prettier than me. However, I dare to admit that I'm the most attractive and feminine. I don't believe that you won't be moved." Sister Yao's smile was enchanting, but she was truly happy in her heart. Her soft breasts were trembling, causing Yi Qinghan to feel restless. Yi Qinghan looked down at the mature woman and said in a low voice, "I am Yi Qinghan, who wiped out the Black Tiger Stockade a few days ago. I built the Frost Demon Stockade. As a newcomer, I will offend people. If there is no one to protect me, it will be hard for me to develop. Therefore, I would like to use my connections to invite the 2 domain chiefs of the Black Sky County to a banquet. Sister Yao should know the 2 domain chiefs better. Can you give me some advice? Why should I help you?" Sister Yao asked. "Then what do you want?" Yi Qinghan's devilish smile made the woman unable to refuse. I want you, to give it to me. You little vixen. Sister Yao wriggled her body seductively. Her jade-like hands caressed Yi Qinghan's chest, as if she was sensing his heartbeat. Sister Yao isn't someone who likes handsome men. According to my investigation, although you look very flirtatious on the surface, you actually don't allow men to take advantage of you. Being able to pull you into my embrace is already taking advantage of me. Why? Are you attracted by my beauty and moved? Yi Qinghan teased. Yo, I'm just flattering you a little and you're already so cocky. I've been in the pugilistic world for so long, what kind of men have I not seen? I'm just curious. Judging from your temperament, you don't seem to be the type to take advantage of others. I just want to know your true motive. I don't think you're really trying to curry favor with the two domain chiefs. Sister Yao looked straight at Yi Qinghan, as if she had seen through him. Yi Qinghan's body stiffened for a moment. He looked calmly at Sister Yao in his embrace and gradually released his grip. I guessed right. I've seen countless men, what kind of men have I not seen before? Do you think you can fool my eyes with your little tricks? Sister Yao smiled. Yi Qinghan suddenly moved, pushing Sister Yao down onto the beast-skin cushion. As if he had been electrocuted, the soft cushion caved in. Sister Yao, you've seen countless men, but don't you know that you shouldn't touch the secrets in the depths of men's hearts? Yi Qinghan's hoarse voice was filled with magnetism. I don't like to pry into other people's secrets, but from the first time I saw you, I wanted to see through you. Why? You don't want me to see the secrets in your heart? Sister Yao's face was flushed red, as if she was really rarely touched by others. She was simply too seductive. No man could resist such a woman. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. He raised his right hand, lifted her chin, and said in a hoarse voice, since you want to know, I'll tell you. My real target is the great wasteland world. Sister Yao, can you provide me with some information? Sister Yao's eyes widened as she looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. She didn't expect his target to be the great wasteland world. The Grand Wastelands world is a place where the paramount gods go to hunt for treasures, Sister Yao said. You're just a giant god rookie, and you're going to die if you try to go there. Besides, the passageway isn't open to just anyone. You have to have the permission of the Realm Lord or a peak paramount god to enter. Yi Qinghan smiled. As expected, information came quickly in this place. Is there any other information? Yi Qinghan immediately asked. If you want information, you'll have to give me something in exchange. I'm not free, Sister Yao said with a charming smile. Or do you want me? Of course. Look at how great you are. If you're satisfied, I can help you get a letter. A flirtatious tone came from the room. In the faint red atmosphere, hormones were bursting forth. Yi Qinghan's breathing stagnated. He slowly lowered his body and came into close contact with Sister Yao. Gently, he reminded her, there is no future between us. I won't take responsibility. I don't need you to take responsibility. If you serve me well enough, I'll be your lover. Why? Because I'm moved. After so many years, I also need to balance my yin and yang. However, I want the person I love to fight with me. You're very suitable. Simple words, but they struck a chord in her heart. Yi Qinghan slowly lifted her veil, stirring her heart. Sister Yao did her best to cooperate. She lifted her body and removed her clothes, revealing her perfect body. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up. Humans weren't saints. How could they be without desires? They were all mortals. No matter how strong a person was, no matter how strong a god was, they were still mortals. All titles were given by humans. I'll satisfy your request. I hope you can satisfy my eyes as well. Yi Qinghan was incomparably charming, exuding a wild and manly aura. Yi Qinghan leaned forward and did his best to satisfy the beauty in front of him. Chapter 1167. In the primal chaos realm, the divine bird, the little money grubber, and the little golden crow leisurely made their way to the insane sect. Only then did they realize that Yi Qinghan and Mo Li were ambushed, and Mo Li did not return to the demonic god mountain. Both sides almost fought. The divine bird used a lot of persuasion to convince the demonic god mountain. In addition, Qin Wentian did not allow them to fight. Both sides managed to stabilize the situation for the time being. A large number of experts rushed to the Six Paths domain, destroying the entire place. Corpses of the demonic god guards and baleful blood guards were strewn all over the place. The second sorcerer god did not even have time to clean them up. Everyone in the Six Paths domain was killed and buried in the lake in the city. We were ambushed here. If I didn't find the array core, this divine bird would be finished, the divine bird sighed. Emperor Yi and Qin Wentian rushed to the blood lake in the city. Looking at the corpses, the smell of flesh and blood had changed and even started to rot. The stench was overwhelming, and they were furious. Who could be so cruel? They actually massacred an entire city. Emperor Yi clenched his fists and said angrily. The demonic god mountain's Yushin personally arrived. Looking at the blood lake, she waved her divine power and pushed aside the flesh and blood. Looking at the array below, she said hoarsely, the blood fiend sky sealing array. This is the most powerful array in the primal chaos era. Once sealed, no one can break it from the inside or the outside unless they find the array core. The blood fiend sky sealing array is known as the most vicious array. It uses flesh and blood to accumulate endless resentment and fear. It gathers baleful aura, sealing the sky and suppressing the earth. This array is a secret array that both the demonic god mountain and the sorcerer tribe knew. Qin Wentian looked at Yushin and Emperor Yi. He noticed that Emperor Yi was a little vigilant and was glaring at the two. He quickly explained, Auntie, believe me. It's definitely not the demonic god mountain's doing. So it's the sorcerer tribe's doing? Then the sorcerer tribe can do whatever they want. How did they know that Master and Mo Li passed by the Six Paths domain at that time? Emperor Yi asked coldly. Yushin frowned and pondered for a moment. This matter is very simple. When Sect Master Yi went to invite the demon god, he was discovered by the sorcerer tribe. They set up a large array here in advance and waited for him. Auntie, the demon god mountain won't harm Mo Li as well. The divine bird saw the two of them fighting together, so there's a high chance that it was done by the shaman tribe. However, the most important thing for us now is to find the location of Uncle and Mo Li. Since they managed to escape from the blood fiend sky sealing great formation, they naturally have the ability to escape from their pursuit. However, they haven't returned yet, which means that there's a problem. Emperor Yi nodded and returned to the city gate to meet up with Jiang Jingtian and the others. Seeing them examining the corpses of the blood evil guards, he was even more certain that they were not from the demon god mountain because many of the blood evil guards have been killed by Mo Li. There are no clues. They are all strangers who have never appeared before. However, there is a group of people who are the same as the ones who attacked the endless star system, Jiang Jingtian said in a low voice. I've tracked down the direction Brother Yi and Mo Li escaped in. Let's chase after them now. Zixian used a forbidden technique to reconstruct the origin. Along the way, Yi Qinghan and Mo Li had been fighting and fleeing. They had not concealed themselves at all, so it was easy to track them. However, the origin of the blood evil guards could not be tracked down. At this moment, a figure appeared on the city wall. He wore a mask and his clothes fluttered in the wind. His killing intent soared to the sky. The divine bird immediately shouted, "It's this bastard who brought people to stop us." Boom. The 12 experts of the demon god mountain and the shaman tribe drew their swords at the same time. The 12 of them were all top-notch saint sons and were comparable to saint lords. They glared at the second shaman god. The second shaman god's eyes emitted a cold light as he stared at the divine bird. He ignored the others and coldly asked the divine bird, devouring spirit parrot, "Were you the one who broke the blood fiend sky ceiling great formation?" "Of course. Don't you know who this divine bird is? I can break this broken thing with a wave of my hand. It's not like it's some supreme divine formation." The divine bird held its head high and said disdainfully, "Oh." The second shaman god's lips curled up. If it wasn't for the mask covering his cold smile, it would definitely scare people to death. "Then what about the person who chased after you? Who killed him?" The second shaman god continued to ask. "You're talking about that rookie?" My bird body shook and my divinity erupted. "He was killed by me on the spot. Now, his corpse is at the bottom of the river, being eaten by the fishes." The divine bird raised its head in disdain as if it had just killed a small fry. The second shaman god laughed evilly. Looking at the divine bird's smug look, his evil aura burst forth as he mocked, "I didn't expect the devouring spirit parrot to have such ability." The divine bird was unhappy when it heard that. It roared, "I'm not a good bird. If God blocks me, I'll kill God. If devil blocks me, I'll kill devil. Anyone who blocks my path, I'll kill without mercy." Everyone looked at each other. They did not expect the divine bird to be so high profile. "Do you know who he is? With just you? Even 100 of them together would not be a match for him. Tell me, who is the murderer, and I'll leave your corpse intact." The second shaman god was really angry. He did not want to talk nonsense with it, so he angrily rebuked. "I don't care who he is. If he's an enemy, I'll kill him as well. You won't be able to leave today. Tell me honestly, where did you chase my master Nemoli?" The divine bird did not give him any face and coldly asked. "I killed them. Consider it a little interest." The second shaman god ruthlessly retorted. "Bullshit. If my master was dead, the little golden crow would have been dead already. If my master wasn't dead, Emoli wouldn't have died either. You must have lost them, right? I know this guy's speed very well. Even if you had 2 more legs, you wouldn't be able to catch up." The divine bird scolded. "You're courting death." The second shaman god was furious. He pulled out his sword and was about to kill the divine bird. "Brothers, kill this bitch." Whoosh, the divine bird took a step back and waved its wings forward as it shouted to the crowd. Ting 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 ting, whoosh whoosh whoosh, buzz. At that moment, the experts attacked the second shaman god at almost the same time. Emperor Yi played the zither, buffing everyone. Yushin rushed forward aggressively. Jiang Jingtian and Yi Kun were no exception. At that moment, they all wanted to kill the second shaman god and take off his mask to see if he was the second shaman god. Boom boom boom. More than 10 attacks attacked the city walls at the same time. The walls of the 6 Paths Divine City collapsed. The second shaman god's divine sword shattered everyone's attacks. His body flew backward, but he used the momentum to escape. His figure flashed and disappeared at an extremely fast speed. It was impossible to catch up. Yushin did not give chase. Instead, she stood on top of the collapsed city wall and said in a low voice, "This person shouldn't be the second shaman god. His divine weapon is the shaman spear, an ancestral weapon. It's an over-god weapon. If he really did attack Sect Master Yi and Young Master, they wouldn't have a chance to escape if he used the over-god weapon." Emperor Yi frowned and thought. Other than the demon god mountain and the shaman tribe, there didn't seem to be anyone who had a deep grudge against them. Why would they want the insane sect and the demon god mountain to kill each other? However, Zixian reacted quickly. He turned to the divine bird and asked, "That person just said that the person who was chasing you is dead. He should be a big shot. Who killed him? What does he look like?" The divine bird was stunned. "That guy was dragged into the water by the water monkey. Who would dare fight with it for the corpse? Yi Qing Han almost didn't come up from the bottom of the water, so it didn't dare to go down. Therefore, Wu Ye's identity was still not exposed. The second shaman god also considered this point. He didn't want to search for Wu Ye's corpse and left immediately. Chapter 1168. In the fragrance pavilion, Yi Qinghan stood by the window. Behind him, Sister Yao was lying on the beast skin cushion with a satisfied expression. Her body and mind were both satisfied as she stared at Yi Qinghan's back in a daze. You woke up so early. What do you want to ask? I'll tell you everything I know. Sister Yao twisted her body and slowly got up. Her entire body was sore and powerless. It was clear that the intense battle last night had left her somewhat unable to resist. I wish to enter the Great Desolation Domain. Sister Yao, why don't you give me some suggestions? Yi Qinghan went straight to the point, too lazy to beat around the bush. He was confident that he had the charm to conquer this wild woman, and she wouldn't say anything. Entering the Great Desolation Domain isn't a difficult matter for me. Do you know who I am? Sister Yao smiled. She walked behind Yi Qinghan, wrapped her arms around his waist, and asked charmingly. She was only wearing a thin, transparent veil. Yi Qinghan didn't push Sister Yao away. Instead, he raised his eyebrows and asked, You're a subordinate of the city lord? That's right. He has women in every city to help him accumulate wealth, and we are just his playthings. If we are lucky enough to give birth to a child, the mother can rely on the child to enjoy glory, splendor, wealth, and rank. It's a pity that I didn't live up to expectations and didn't have any goods in my belly. Even now, I am still here as the pavilion master of the fragrance pavilion. I am his woman. Otherwise, with my charm and beauty, how could no one be tempted by me and have ideas about me? Who would dare to touch me? Sister Yao smiled seductively. Yi Qinghan's body stiffened, and he said hoarsely, If that's the case, I've cuckolded a certain supreme god. Why? Are you scared? Sister Yao mocked. Yi Qinghan slowly turned around. Looking at this impeccable woman, his thoughts suddenly surged, and he said evilly, I'm not a good person. Cuckolding a supreme god, I suddenly feel very excited. Even more excited than last night. It's really exciting. Pine. Ah. Different sounds filled the private room. The soundproofing effect was extremely good. No matter how Sister Yao played, the outside world would not be able to hear anything. Yi Qinghan was like a barbarian. He flipped Sister Yao around and pressed her against the window. The second head continued to attack, and soon, Sister Yao's body began to convulse. Yi Qinghan's wild nature and frenzied explosiveness were too much for her to handle. She had to switch locations, be it the table, the window, the cushion, or even the floor. After fighting for nearly 2 hours, Sister Yao was on the verge of fainting. She didn't even dare to make a sound, as though she was venting her frustrations as well. Eventually, she fell limply onto the soft flesh. Are you satisfied this time? If you're satisfied, then hurry up and tell me how to enter the Great Wasteland Domain. Yi Qinghan leaned over and whispered into Sister Yao's ear. So comfortable. You're the best man I've ever met. Sis Yao exclaimed excitedly as she collapsed onto the floor in satisfaction. I will be in the future as well. Yi Qinghan chuckled mischievously. Alright, you're indeed not a good person. Everyone else would avoid me, but you pushed me down once more just because I'm the concubine of a supreme god. You're 10 times crazier than yesterday. If he were to find out about this, you'll die a horrible death. Sister Yao chuckled. If I die under a beauty's skirt, I'll still be a romantic ghost. Besides, I already did it last night. If he were to find out, I'd have to at least earn a little more before I die, right? Yi Qinghan muttered. Alright. You're smart. Sisiao tightly hugged Yi Qinghan's back as she gently said, "If you want to enter the Great Wasteland domain, you'll need the Realm Lord's personal decree. If you want to get close to the Realm Lord, you'll need to at least have a certain level of qualifications. You'll need to obtain the approval of that dead city Lord of Cloud Nation before you can participate in the Snow Nation's Divine Realms Elite competition. If you win the competition, you'll naturally receive the Realm Lord's recognition." Seeing the Realm Lord, Yi Qinghan felt somewhat uneasy. If the Realm Lord of Snow Nation's Divine Realm were to discover his Great Wasteland tablet, wouldn't he be walking right into a trap? Is there any other way? Yi Qinghan asked with a frown. He. If there's no other way, then you can only rely on robbing. If you can defeat a supreme god, then you might as well give it a try. Sisiao giggled. Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a mocking smile as he slowly stood up. He grabbed a soft veil from the cushion and draped it over Sisiao's body. He wore his own clothes and sat down on the cushion. He stared at the vivid and lifelike painting on the wall, as if a phoenix had been reborn and was about to soar into the sky. He was somewhat absent-minded. "What other goals do you have? Tell me all at once. I'll help you do them all." "Who asked me to be conquered by you?" Sisiao rolled up the soft veil and wrapped it around her body, making her look even more charming. She sat beside Yi Qinghan and gently leaned on his shoulder. She followed his gaze and looked at the phoenix painting. "I want to conquer the two great generals of the Black Sky Guards and kill the Black Sky County Governor." Yi Qinghan turned his head and looked down at Sisiao, not hiding anything. Sisiao looked up at him with surprise, excitement, and curiosity in her eyes. "Ha ha ha, I see. Ha ha ha," elder sister Yao said. "Looks like I was right about you. I knew you weren't an ordinary person. To think that you'd want to replace a prefectural governor right from the start. Although your idea is pretty domineering, it won't be easy to pull it off. Let's not talk about the two lieutenants, but the prefectural governor himself is incredibly strong. He's already close to becoming a paramount god." Yi Qinghan didn't expect the county governor to be so strong. He was actually half a step into the paramount god realm. In terms of fighting strength, he wasn't a match for him. Even if he joined forces with Devilly, the county governor would still need to bathe in devil blood and use forbidden arts. Half a step into the paramount god realm. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes and fell into deep thought. After a long time, he said in a hoarse voice, "I'm not the only one. There's also a young man who isn't inferior to me. Defeating him shouldn't be a problem, but killing him will be difficult. If the two great generals of the Black Sky Guards are there as well, I'm 100% sure that I can kill him. I didn't expect your cultivation to be so strong. You're actually confident that you can kill a half-step paramount god?" Sisiao said in shock. Yi Qinghan didn't reply. He just looked at Sisiao in silence. If he wanted to suppress the two great generals, he would have to rely on her. "I'll help you deal with the two great generals," Sisiao said firmly. Yi Qinghan let out a breath of turbid air. With the help of this woman, who was familiar with the two great generals, his chances of success would increase greatly. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, "I won't be thanking you. However, what I want isn't just Black Sky County. I want Cloud City, or even more. This process might take a long time, so I can't guarantee anything. However, Black Sky County is yours. It will always be yours." Sisiao's eyes flashed. She couldn't see through Yi Qinghan. "Also, since you want to be my lover, don't let anyone touch your body in the future. I don't like it. Dress properly. I'm not a good person. I'm a selfish person. Don't make me angry. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe." Yi Qinghan's manly aura erupted. He was full of wildness. An intense desire to dominate and conquer enveloped Sisiao, causing her to freeze in place. Sisiao was a true royal sister. She wanted to control everything. Today, in front of Yi Qinghan, she actually didn't have the slightest bit of control. She was forcefully dominated by Yi Qinghan. Not only did she not feel uncomfortable, she even felt sweet and happy. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.